Hey, folks! Our friends at Sunset Lake know that it's not always easy to feel thankful these days, so they wanted to extend their thanks to this show, our amazing listeners, and a special shout out for Brian for all that lifted tea love. The
You're
holidays are,
welcome.
yeah, the holidays are coming up, which means less daylight, colder temperatures, and a little extra stress on top of an already nutty year. As we wind down 2025, you deserve to rest and recharge. Thankfully, our friends at Sunset Lake Seder have kicked off their Black Friday sale. Right now, you can save 30% off statewide when you head to site-wide, I should say, sunsetlakesebede.com and use the code Friday25. That's the word Friday and two numbers, 25, no spaces, Friday 25. They've got everything that you need to chill out, catch your breath this holiday season. They've got the tinctures that help you with sleep. They've got gummies to make you feel more social, and some gummies to help you sleep. Even smokables that won't make you bug out. They'll just make you feel a little bit relaxed. I mean, we've got this all over my desk. I've got Sunset Lake Sebede. I've got this lotion that I've been using much more heavily in these winter months. Over there, I don't want to reach too far, but I've got those relax gummies. I sometimes pop one on my commute home. Sunset Lake is an essential product in my household, and the quality of it is phenomenal. Regenerative farming practices, partially employee owned. They treat their employees well, pesticide free. They're movement partners and have partnered with us on things like refugee resettlement and strike relief funds, all of that good stuff that makes you feel good about supporting a company. Sunset Lake is a company that you can feel good about supporting, and their products are quite good. And that's not all, though, folks. If your order total is over $125, Sunset Lake will throw in a free citrus-flavored 750 milligram Sebede tincture. Again, that's 30% off statewide. The coupon code is Friday25, and orders over $125 unlock a free citrus-flavored 750 milligram Sebede tincture. Head over to sunsetlakesebede.com and use the code Friday25 to save 30% on their all their wellness products for people and pets. This sale ends December 1st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. See their site for full terms and conditions. Now, time for the show.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
The destiny of America is always safer in the hands of the people than in the conference rooms of any elite.
Sam Seder.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
And I get the feeling you've been cheated.
It is Wednesday, November 26th, 2025. My name is Emma Vigeland, in for Sam Seder, and this is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, Elizabeth Pincotti of the Groundwork Collaborative will be with us to talk about Trump's Thanksgiving price surges. Or the Trump slump, or the Trump bump. Hey, we're workshopping it, sort of. We may already have. Also on the program, Trump's FBI is contacting the Democrats who told troops to defy illegal orders in an obvious scare tactic. In a court filing, the DOJ reveals that it was Kristi Noem who was behind the decision to violate Judge Boasberg's order to halt deporting immigrants to CECOT. ICE is offering up to $280 million for bounty hunter services from private surveillance firms, per Wired, to target immigrants. The mother of White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt's nephew was just detained by ICE. Senate Republicans plan to tackle affordability when they return in January, by targeting the real culprit, vehicle safety mandates. House Oversight Chair James Comer, who wants to run for governor of Kentucky, is distancing himself from the Epstein investigation. The CDC hires Louisiana's Surgeon General Ralph Abraham as its deputy director, who has had Louisiana stop recommending vaccines during an influenza surge. Jair Bolsonaro has begun his 27-year sentence for his coup attempt after exhausting all appeals and trying to cut off his ankle monitor to flee to a friendly embassy.
The American embassy?
I think that's what was speculated. And honestly, it's probably the right bet.
He said he got curious and put a heating element on it.
Oh, he's just doing a science experiment. Dad, I just got curious to see if this would light on fire. One of Germany's leading research institutes finds that the bare minimum Gaza death toll is 100,000. And that's just conflict-related deaths. Not starvation and not people that they can't find under the rubble. The UN says Israel's genocidal assault on Gaza has created, quote, the most severe economic crisis ever recorded. And lastly, starting next year, the Trump administration will require a surcharge for any foreign tourists visiting national parks. But don't worry, Americans are also paying more too. All this and more on today's Majority Report. It's Hump Day. It's an M-Majority Report on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yes. Hello, Matt. Hello, Brian. Hello, everybody. Happy nearly Thanksgiving. I hope everybody's getting in the holiday spirit. We, as a programming reminder, will be off tomorrow, and then on Friday we have a show. We recorded it in advance that we will. We're excited to share with you. So you can tune in on Friday, but no live show on Friday. We will be back live on Monday and on Friday. Just make sure to wish one Sam Seder a very happy birthday, in part because I think it really annoys him.
He would hate that.
It's so weird having the birthday on the
Right
Thanksgiving
around.
week. Yeah, it always happens. And it's like, oh yeah, it's also his birthday. And it's like, well, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
We kind of have our hands full with Thanksgiving, but we
Right.
have to do his birthday stuff. All the birthday stuff he makes us do too.
yeah, it's such a burden.
I had to go to 2 different stores to get enough candles.
He's like, I want to be pampered.
My birthday month.
Yeah. Different parties for different groups of friends. The work party better be better than the one that John Benjamin threw for me. You know, it's like that's what Sam.
It's like we have to compete with that.
This is what Sam sounds like. So ICE is no easy transition from that. ICE is still terrorizing communities across the country. North Carolina's been in the headlines a lot recently because that's been very intense. But there's also been, an increase in activity in Oregon. We'll play a clip from Salem, the Salem City Council meeting that I thought was really powerful. But Austin Coker, friend of the show, if you don't follow his Substack for some of this data, you're missing out. He had an article just 4 or 5 days ago breaking down this ICE data that has just been released here. We now have the numbers because the government shutdown slowed so much of it. There's basically been the data has been completely opaque for the past 2 months. But now we know that ICE is currently holding a record 65,135 people. Can we scroll to the chart? The first chart there that shows that. You can see the total ICE detention population is, based on Austin's breakdown, at a record high, at above 65K. And then this next chart's also, these first 3 are helpful. Scroll down. Yep. Monthly ICE arrests here, you can also see, are close to what could be a record. At the very least, October looks like a record. November over 40,000 arrests.
I would just like to say, Chris Murphy, that whole thing you did early in the Trump administration when you said they're not even arresting that many people compared to the Biden numbers. Maybe reflect on why that wasn't the best approach to take.
Right. And also these arrests are going to keep escalating. This third chart too, thanks. Because as Austin writes about, the enforcement budget is just starting to be implemented right now. The crazy increases that ICE got in the last Republican budget. Now, in the largest growth in people arrested by ICE during this time period has been people with no criminal charges and convictions. Here you can see that the biggest growth is in that bottom right area, which is other immigration violator, basically meaning zero criminal charges.
Convicted criminal basically flat over the past several months. Pending criminal charges pretty much the same with a spike in the last couple. But the big spike is just clearly not any sort of criminal record besides they have a immigration violation.
And Wired just also had a report that came out, a really disturbing one. I headlined it, that ICE has lifted an $180 million cap on immigrant tracking contracts, and they're now offering up to $280 million for essentially bounty hunting services by using advanced technology. And let's play a little bit of that Salem City Council vote. I saw that one of the DSA chapters posted this, and this is just a good reminder that DSA is, if you have the ability, joining DSA can be a really fruitful way to combat the Trump administration and have solidarity during this time of fascism.
It's an organization with under 100,000 people, but fastly approaching that is my understanding, and it is taking an absolute leadership role in at a time where there's a complete vacuum
exactly
at the top of the opposition party.
Right, and that leadership role, I feel like as the members grow, we're getting more and more people with even like heightened competence. Right, it's not just we're getting larger and larger pools of people who are really activated and want to be a part of the DSA infrastructure. And
network effect.
Yeah, and Zohran Mamdani, you'll hear in this woman's remarks, is inspiring, I think, across the country. But here is this woman speaking at Salem City Council in a meeting that they had. They ended up voting 6-3 to declare a state of emergency over these ICE sweeps, and this was a piece of the remarks from that meeting.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Elisa, and I am a resident of Ward 8. I am a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, and I am a home health care worker. And I am also a dreamer. I came to this country when I was 14 years old from Puebla, Mexico. I followed all the correct steps, and I went to school, I got a job, and I started a family. And I applied to be a citizen. I am happy to say that. I am now a legal resident, but I'm still scared. I'm scared because I see what happens in Hillsborough. I see what happens in Gilbert, and I see what happens here in Salem. ICE does not care if I am a resident. ICE will not care when I am a citizen. ICE only cares that my skin is brown. Every day I ask, am I next? A statement is not enough. Salem workers have more demands. Make all schools sanctuary schools. Make all buildings in Salem stop ICE from going inside. Tell the police to arrest ICE agents doing illegal raids or detentions. End all contracts with ICE. Make illegal funds for families impacted by ICE. Support abolish ICE. I'm proud to be in the same group as Zohran Mamdani, a Muslim immigrant and mayor of New York City. He wants a city that workers can afford. Immigrants want to be free from ICE. They also want to be free from poverty. We demand that you fight for housing for all, fast and free buses, and tax the rich. Thank you.
I just thought that was amazing and really brave for her to show her face as a dreamer. She went by an anonymous name, but finds solidarity in DSA. I just was so heartened to see that, and heartened to see how those demands, when you have a kind of organization behind it that stands with you, you can be activated on that level and demand that of your representation. So I just thought that was extremely moving.
It's an issue of right and wrong, and then you have JD Vance on the other side trying to spread these sort of Nazi lies. You know, moved on from their eating your pets or whatever to they're living in the houses you should be living in, as if anyone thinks that people in her situation are like living high off the hog because of how great America lets it. No, these people are kept in the shadows. And even even the good sort of provisional stuff we do, like DACA and stuff, it should have just been citizenship. Why are these people kept in limbo at all? It's a fucking, it's embarrassing.
But we know why, because of because it creates a sub-citizen status for so many people that allows them to be more easily exploited. It prevents them from feeling comfortable even joining an organization like DSA or being a more formal member of society, because you are in a state of limbo constantly and are much more susceptible to exploitation. That's why having her speak about her experience within the context of democratic socialism is really important, because immigration is a labor issue. We talk about this all the time. When you hear about a 15-year-old kid dying in a meatpacking plant, wow, what do you know? That kid was undocumented, and look, that red state wants to do away with paperwork requirements so they don't have as much of a paper trail when they exploit that person's labor. What about if you were in an unsafe workplace and you're an undocumented immigrant, even if you're an adult? You're going to complain to your boss and you're going to say this is unsafe, or can I have a raise, please? Because the guy's just going to go, hey, I'll call ICE, I'll deport you. And when you see more and more of this enables bosses like that to use that even more. In Charlotte, attendance is just way down. When we were covering that last week, because children are afraid to go to school. They're afraid to participate in society. And that is like the right-wing populist vision of this kind of thing. It's just hurting other people so you feel better, and it changes nothing materially for you.
And the problem is the Democrats aren't speaking to the actual underinvestment in people's communities. That's the real problem here. Like, this is being pursued not because it's going to make anyone's lives better. The way to make people's lives better is to take the money that is being hoarded by the wealthiest in society at historically unprecedented levels and reinvest it toward things like transportation and housing that people need. And that's the Nazi playbook is just being run again by all those people that are hoarding the money, we're just trying to find some other that people can hate and blame all this on. But the answer is right, and that's why people joining DSA that's why DSA is growing the way it is because socialism is the answer to this.
I mean, and was that ever more evident when Zoran Mamdani stood next to Donald Trump and gave like the strongest rebuke of his politics just by the strength of his convictions that we've seen in this 2.0 era? Liberalism is failing to meet the moment. But just to kind of wrap things up with just another crazy wrinkle to this. So Caroline Leavitt, the White House spokesperson who's in her 20s and moves her mouth in a way that Donald Trump likes.
Machine gun mouth.
Machine gun mouth.
Thompson.
She's like, did she get full facial reconstruction or just like partially? Because she's like looks like a totally different person. But yeah, I like
Shut up, Piggy.
She got the Mar-a-Lago discount.
Well, it's nice to have Botox when you're a professional liar, because then nobody can ever see your poker face.
Exactly. And I'm telling you, not just Botox. Got to teach you boys the difference between Botox and filler. I'm trying hard, but that is accurate. I mean, I don't know I'm curious about everybody's take on this, because this could be a coincidence. It could also be Caroline Leavitt and the mother of her brother's son or child being targeted. I guess we'll see. We don't know, but basically, this is a local news report here on how the mother of White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt's nephew was just taken by ICE.
Mother of White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt's nephew has been taken into Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody. A source confirming that to News 9 tonight. Now, Leavitt, of course, grew up here in New Hampshire. Much of her family still lives here. Our Ariel Metropolis spoke to Leavitt's brother tonight, the father of that boy, about this arrest. She joins us here in studio live now. Ariel.
Steve, we spent almost half an hour with Michael Leavitt and his young family on their front steps tonight. He didn't want to go on camera because he says he's concerned about his son's privacy, but he says he simply wants the best for him.
The brother of White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says he's most concerned about his son's safety and well-being after he confirms his son's mother is in ICE custody. Photos published on a GoFundMe site show Michael Leavitt's former partner, Bruno Ferreira, a source confirming she was taken into ICE custody in Revere, Massachusetts. DHS saying she's being held at an ICE facility in Louisiana. Michael Leavitt spoke to WMUR off camera on his front porch tonight, telling us that his son has lived with him since he was born, but Ferreira has maintained a relationship with the boy. According to DHS, Ferreira overstayed her visa by 26 years and has a previous arrest for battery. But Ferreira's attorney, Todd Pomerleau, insists that she came here legally from Brazil under DACA and is in the process of getting her green card.
Bruna has no criminal record whatsoever. I don't know where that is coming from. Show us the proof. There's no charges out there. She's not a criminal illegal alien. We're hearing that said about basically anyone who's not a U.S. citizen.
Pomerleau says Ferreira is a good mother, agreeing with that same sentiment from Michael Leavitt that this boy shouldn't be caught in the middle.
And his mom is locked up sitting in Louisiana where she should have never been in the first place.
Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know the marital or the custody situation, I guess, with this kid. The mother, I guess, she is not with Caroline Leavitt's brother anymore. But, I mean, on one side of things, it could just be this is how rogue ICE is.
That's what they do. That's clearly to me. That's what they do. Like this is just they see somebody who's in sort of some process, whether it's DACA or deferred, like whatever. That's clearly I think what the situation she was in. So that's why she came up on their radar. They had no idea it's like Leavitt's brother's like significant other, whatever their relationship is. But this is just how they operate. Right.
I mean, I can't also rule out the possibility that it's also being used as a disciplinary force against her. If she has this connection, the father of her child has this connection with the White House, and say they're not getting along, we don't know.
She should resign.
Well, I mean, obviously, but my point is just that that's another example of immigration being used as and somebody's status like this, being a DACA recipient, being used as a disciplinary force against her, as like an extrajudicial punishment system.
Yeah,
ripping her away potentially from her child. We'll see.
It's possible. I just don't think it's that sophisticated. I think it's just a blunt,
and
brutal Gestapo.
And if it's that too, the point still stands.
There's something happened early on in February. Holman, who's also has New Hampshire roots, somebody sort of close to people that he came up with, like a child got swept up in something like this, and he had to like sort of backpedal and like that's the thing is I think this is what happens when you send these thugs out there. Nobody is safe, not even the significant other of the liar in chief in Caroline Leavitt.
In a moment, we will be speaking to Liz Pancotti, but first, a word from some of our sponsors. What if you could give a gift that brings your favorite holiday traditions and memories to life every day? Well, with an Aura frame, you can. It's perfect, really, for your mom, for your dad, for your grandparents, for your uncles and aunts. You have unlimited free photos and videos. You just download the Aura app and connect to Wi-Fi and then preload the photos on the Aura frame before it ships. So you can add all of these nostalgic photos, photos of you and your family and loved ones, and send it over to the recipient without having to take the frame out of the box. It's like magic. And if they're old enough, they may think it's magic. So you can just give the gift of memories to your loved ones. It's thoughtful. It's just the perfect gift, especially, if you don't know exactly what to get somebody.
It's like
right?
we should all be like texting and stuff, especially our elderly relatives more. This is like an easy way to just send a picture.
Exactly right. For a limited time, visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames named #1 by Wirecutter. Sam, I feel like, has probably gotten like half a dozen. He's on like an Aura frames.
I ordered 2 this year.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting. I mean, I got these wedding photos to give to people. This is like the perfect way to do that. Use promo code majority at checkout. That's Aura Frames, AURA frames.com, promo code majority. This exclusive Black Friday Cyber Monday deal is their best of the year, so order now before it ends. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply, but that's AURA frames.com, promo code majority for the exclusive Black Friday Cyber Monday deal, and you can get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames. Link down below in the YouTube and episode descriptions. Promo code majority. Another word from our sponsors. Getting older? Well, as I get older, I keep catching myself thinking I got to go to the doctor more. I got to get my checkups. I'm dealing with like stress sometimes from the news, other nagging things.
Skill issue.
Yeah. Well, no, it's actually not a skill issue now because I got ZocDoc to help me out here, Matt. I want to keep myself healthy, but it makes the whole system is just a pain. It makes it impossible to find the right doc for my needs until I found ZocDoc. They make it so easy to find the right fit and book an appointment fast directly on their website. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click instantly to book an appointment. ZocDoc lets you book in-network appointments with more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty. You can filter for doctors who are near you, take your insurance, are a good fit for you, etc. You can find the type of care that you're looking for, from good bedside manners to fast wait times to doctors with the best listening skills. You can see their actual appointment openings, choose a time slot that works for you, and click instantly to book a visit. Appointments made through ZocDoc also happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking, and you can even get same-day appointments. ZocDoc is how I found my dentist, who I really like now. And I obviously don't love going to the dentist, but if you have one that you like, it makes it a little bit easier. And I'm just in awe that ZocDoc is like the most intuitive kind of site with this calendar view for these appointments. It's the most annoying thing in the world. You have to call the doctor over and over again, find an appointment, etc. You can't get them on the line. Oh, we're closed on Mondays. Okay, that's odd. But ZocDoc lets you know, and you have a calendar laid out for you.
I mean, that's the thing. In a city like New York, to be able to look at doctors by the time that they're available.
Huge.
Crazy.
Huge.
I mean, the main thing, yeah.
I would like to thank ZocDoc for sponsoring today's episode. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/majority to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/majority, ZocDoc.com/majority, and we will put a link down below in the episode and YouTube descriptions and at majority.fm. And lastly, this time of year is packed with festivities, with Thanksgiving right around the corner. And here is how I stay productive the next day after those festivities. It's a game changer. Z-Biotics. Z-Biotics, the pre-alcohol probiotic drink, is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that is to blame for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you will feel your best tomorrow. Z-Biotics has been a big assist for us in many ways after doing some live shows, indulging. It's a go-to here in our office for some of these work events. And every time that I have the Z-Biotics pre-alcohol before drinks, I notice a difference the next day. Even after a night out, I can confidently plan on doing the show, not falling apart without worry. Make the most of every toast, tailgate, and touchdown this holiday season. Just don't forget to bring pre-alcohol along for the ride. Go to zbiotics.com/majority to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use majority at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/majority and use code majority at checkout for 15% off. Links down below in the episode description and at majority.fm. Quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Liz Pancotti. We are back, and we are joined by friend of the show, Liz Pancotti, Managing Director of Policy and Advocacy at Groundwork Collaborative, former advisor to Senator Bernie Sanders. Liz, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me. Good to be back.
Yeah, great to see you. And you have a new kind of report, Groundwork Collaborative, in collaboration with some other folks, have a new piece out, I guess, analysis. A pricier plate, Thanksgiving costs climb nearly 10% this year is the headline of it. But I saw another summary of it. Trump is devouring Americans' Thanksgiving budgets. New report reveals prices up 10%. I do like the idea of the visual of him devouring those prices. So we'll go with that one. But wow. So your analysis basically finds that these Thanksgiving staples are up nearly 10% this year, despite us hearing a lot about the Walmart's meal. There's not a lot about
never better
the overall statistics on this front.
No, it's really funny. There are several competing statistics out there, so we can kind of walk through them. But our analysis finds that overall, a typical Thanksgiving budget is up about 10%, or the price of a Thanksgiving meal at the grocery store is up about 10% this year. Some things are up well above that. Onions are up almost 60%, and cranberry sauce, my favorite thing on the Thanksgiving table, is up 22%. And if you hate turkey, you're really screwed this year. We find that spiral hams are up 50%. So lots to be thankful for this year in Trump's economy. But there are two other stats floating around. One is the Walmart stat that got a bit of a press bump a couple weeks ago when the president was touting it from the Oval Office. Walmart took their basket last year, realized that if they simply put out the prices for that this year, it would show an increase, and so decided to swap a bunch of items out for store brand items or canned produce from fresh produce, and they nixed 8 of the items, I think. It's just a completely different basket. And so I guess that's under Trump's America. In order to have the same price, you've got to ration your food. And then the other thing that's floating around there is the American Farm Bureau Federation has put out their analysis, which is very funny. They rely on about 200 volunteers to go take pictures of stickers at their local grocery store of a list of items, except they don't ensure that people take pictures of the same item. Like one person could be taking a picture of a family size box and someone else could be taking a picture of a regular size box. And that it's about 200 people. And they do it in October when no one is buying perishable items for Thanksgiving that happens a month later. So our data comes from a big conglomerate called Nielsen. They get data from about half of all grocery store purchases in the country. And it's based on the scanner data. So when you scan something in the checkout line, it goes into our data set, and then we look at it. We pulled the most popular items. So we've got all the brand names in there: Green Giant, Libby's, the staples for this time of year, Butterball turkeys and whatnot. And we find prices are up 10% across the board.
I mean, there's a lot. We played some polling yesterday, or it was Harry Enton from CNN summarizing like the poll numbers around how people are experiencing these price increases. And like the way that it's phrased, I understand why for polling purposes, but it's like, how do people feel that the price of groceries are up? And it's something like over 80% have that experience. But what I love about your guys' analysis here, which culls from, I would say, a larger data set than just the Walmart meal that Trump keeps touting, is that you have definitively found that, yes, prices on these kinds of goods are up significantly. Where are they down, if anywhere?
So not down, but stable. Frozen turkeys, which is what most people are buying. In fact, the turkey you hopefully have purchased and mostly thawed by this point, if you're listening to this, if you're eating turkey tomorrow, that was probably frozen last year. And then it is put in the depth of deep freezers and then pulled out this year. So the turkeys that are on the wholesale market right now will actually hit stores next Thanksgiving. Those wholesale prices right now are up 40%. So next year's turkeys will be screwed. But this year, most grocery stores use turkeys as what we call a loss leader, which means they kind of like the Costco $5 rotisserie chicken. They keep the price really low to get you in the door so that you'll buy all the other stuff. And so we find that frozen turkey prices are basically stable. I think they're up like 0.8% or something. But fresh turkeys, if you have waited too long to buy your turkey or you're going to a local butcher, those are up almost 40% this year. So it really depends on exactly the thing you're buying. But in terms of prices being down, we don't find a ton of stuff that is a decrease. If you're looking at different items, so we find that less popular items are sometimes down. You can kind of hunt for a bargain or buying store brand. Eggs are down, but that is mostly due to the huge spike last fall and early into the spring of this year. So eggs and milk are down, but things aren't looking great in the bird flu situation. And I don't know if anyone looked at the news this morning, but Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins was on, I think, CNBC, saying that beef prices are unlikely to come down anytime soon. So we do see a couple of little pockets of decreases, but across the board, we're seeing really, really big increases.
Well, let's stick with meat then just for a second and analyze like really what's driving this, because I know that tariffs are particularly impactful with these beef prices, but then you also have like the cuts to research funding, for example, in the midst of the bird flu outbreak that are affecting basically the chickens that were that were frozen, right? So like there's not enough of inventory, is what I wanted to say, in the back basically. But what are the different reasonings behind some of those price increases? And I'm sorry, my camera's acting up, so I'll try to fix that. Okay. Distracting me a little bit. Yeah.
So in meat, there's a couple different factors at play. Obviously, bird flu has been really big over the past year. My favorite thing was when Elon Musk accidentally fired the bird flu team at the CDC and USDA, and then they had to like scramble to find all their phone numbers to bring them back because Doge didn't realize what it was doing. So Doge cuts have certainly affected our response to avian flu. That's affected chickens, eggs, poultry, turkey, etc. In beef and pork, there's a couple different things going on. In beef specifically, there is a very terrifying, I don't eat beef, so this is fine for me, but a very terrifying sounding flesh-eating disease ravaging cows in Texas. And so we have like our lowest ever cattle herds right now. It's a mixture of that disease plus drought conditions in Texas. And so that is affecting our domestic beef supply. The administration has kind of around the edges tried to change how we can import more beef. It's not totally working very well. And on top of that, for for all meat across the board, meat packing facilities, there's a massive corporate consolidation in this industry. It's basically 4 big players, and a lot of these meat packing facilities are staffed by immigrants. It's a brutal job. Like, you are literally slaughtering pigs all day. They're very, very harsh working conditions, largely filled by immigrant workers in the Midwest. They've also had some child labor issues, and of course, as I know you were talking about this earlier on the show this morning, but of course, Trump's crackdowns on immigrant labor are really affecting that industry.
Right. And then how about fruits and vegetables? They're up as well. What are some of the reasons behind that in terms of Trump's impact on that?
Some of that is a tariff story, especially for canned fruits and vegetables. The aluminum tariffs are just really killing canned products right now. So beer is also up. But for produce in general, again, so much of that relies on immigrant farm workers. And as the administration just really wreaks havoc on our farm worker programs, trying to cut their wages, obviously ICE enforcement on those job sites and whatnot. It's just kind of a brutal story, unfortunately. And it's both hurting those immigrant workers. Again, these are people who work in our communities and feed our kids. It's hurting that and driving up prices at the grocery store.
And wine and beer, you mentioned beer because of the aluminum. The wine has just got to be the tariffs, basically, right?
It's aluminum and steel tariffs and glass, all of those for like fermenting wine in steel vats, typically in like big commercial facilities. Those are all affected by the tariffs. And then the glass and cork products for wine.
And
you're itself, like if you're importing it from, Italy or Spain.
Gotcha. So basically across the board, unless you're getting a frozen turkey, you're paying higher prices. And your analysis also included data for Progress and their poll numbers about what people are experiencing. What were some of the most notable findings in that you'd like to communicate?
Yeah, the polling, as kind of you were talking about the CNN polling too, we find pretty similar results, but unfortunately we find that 65% of Americans are stressed about affording Thanksgiving this year. That stretches across party lines. We find that it's 72% for Democrats and 59% for Republicans. Independents there at 63% in the middle, but everybody is feeling the pinch this year when it comes to Thanksgiving. Most people, a majority of Americans, feel like it's going to be harder to afford Thanksgiving this year, coming in at 53%, believing it will be harder, and just 13% believing it will be easier. And everybody's kind of pinching pennies to afford it. So a third of people are buying fewer items or switching from name brand products to store brand products. A third of people are relying on coupons or discounts. And unfortunately, 10% of people are just skipping the holiday altogether because they simply can't afford it this year. Last, we asked people how they think about President Trump's economic agenda and its effect on Thanksgiving. And we find that a majority of people think that President Trump's agenda is making the holiday less affordable, including 64% of independents and 20% of Republicans. So I think we are really starting to see the cracks in Trump's approval on the economy. It is at its lowest depths, even including his entire first term. He is just really underwater on cost of living and affordability. And unfortunately, for so many families across the country, these higher prices for Thanksgiving are going to be followed by way higher prices for Christmas and Hanukkah gifts and celebrating the holidays in general this year.
I mean, and this is just like a direct result of Congress or their inaction, but the ACA subsidies, the expanded ones or the 2021 ones, are set to expire at the start of January, and that means people's health care is going to explode around the very same time that you're talking about this getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, people logged into healthcare.gov over the past few weeks or got a letter in the mail saying that their healthcare premiums are going to go from $200-300 a month to, in some cases, more than $1,000 a month. I mean, I can't imagine looking at that letter, realizing what my healthcare expenses are going to be, and then buying Christmas gifts for my kids. I don't know how you can do that and keep the lights on in your house.
Yeah, I don't know either. I guess let's zoom out then and talk a little bit about how we got here. I mean, we're talking about the tariffs as well, but it also occurs to me that some of the more, like the better parts of the Biden administration, when they were trying to, at the very least, crack down on price gougers with threats or of legal action, that's gone away entirely. And even when that was in place, we saw the greedflation dynamic play out, where at the start of COVID, there was inflation, naturally occurring inflation due to supply chain bottlenecks and work stoppages and everything that we've talked about the pandemic's impact on the world. But then in the years that followed, we saw record profits. We saw what the quarterly earnings said, and the CEOs just got richer and richer during that time period, and they kept prices high artificially, and particularly in sectors like groceries and food. That it seems to me that even if these tariffs go away, they are probably just going to retain these higher prices regardless, because they have a built-in excuse like they did with inflation.
Yeah, I mean, economist Isabella Weber has coined this: prices shoot up like a rocket and come down like a feather. There is really nothing going to force these companies, even if the Supreme Court overturns Trump's tariffs. I don't think customers are going to get a refund for those higher prices they paid. And I really don't foresee these companies bringing them down. There's actually a new study out of a Columbia Business School professor, Jesse Schrager, finds that for companies who in their earnings calls, they say we're heavily affected by the tariffs. He compares those to companies who do not talk about the tariffs in their earnings calls. So most of them have domestic supply chains, or they explicitly say, like, the tariffs aren't a big deal for us. They find almost the exact same price increases between the two types of companies, those who are affected by the tariffs and those who are not. And I think this is, emblematic of what we saw throughout the supply chain crises of 2022 and 2023. Frito-Lay, big food companies like Frito-Lay, Coke, and Pepsi, they have been some of the worst perpetrators of this, just really keeping prices high. Consumer retail goods like Procter & Gamble and Kimberly-Clark, toothpaste, diapers, toilet paper, all of that stuff. These are some of the worst perpetrators of this. And even if we do see some relief on the tariffs or other economic policies, I don't think these companies have any incentive to bring prices down back to where they should be. The other thing you were talking about is, President Biden had really gone after a lot of this corporate price gouging. And in fact, the Department of Justice was suing this company called RealPage, which uses AI technology in the background to help big corporate landlords spike rents for people. In fact, in Atlanta, this is the worst metro area of this, they raised rents by $180 a month for tenants. And just this week, the Department of Justice under President Trump settled that lawsuit, and RealPage had to admit no guilt. They don't have to turn over the data or the technology. There's a bunch of loopholes in the settlement so that they can continue to do this. It's just a really awful settlement, and none of the state attorneys generals who are also suing RealPage have signed on to it. And so some of those efforts will continue to go. But I mean, Trump is really just letting them off the hook with barely a slap on the wrist.
Well, I mean, I don't understand how. Well, one, I'm curious as to how widely proliferated this algorithmic price fixing is, because it seems to be, well, there's no referees under Trump. They're just like, do whatever you want. But price fixing is supposed to be illegal. Why is it legal, or at the very least, like, no one's enforcing it right now? When just because you use a computer or like an algorithm. I mean, that's really basically the premise of what they're doing here.
Yeah, and I mean, Trump has said this week that they put out this big AI action plan that says that they want to take away the ability for states to regulate AI. And in fact, I mean, Steve Bannon, to his credit, put out a thing last night being like, this is the way to completely end MAGA's rule. And states like Texas have done some actions to go after these big algorithmic price fixing technologies. There's a company called Fetcher, which uses a bunch of personal data that works with airlines like Delta to use dynamic pricing and surveillance pricing, where they use kind of personal data or information about the economy to charge people different prices in real time. So if they know that you got an email from your dad recently saying that your grandma passed away and you need to come home, they could then jack up the price for your flight home in real time. And these companies are boasting about how they are either these AI companies are either enabling this type of price gouging, or other companies are boasting about using this and how much It'll benefit their shareholders and their bottom line. So across the board, I mean, RealPage is super prolific in markets like I live in DC. I know you live in New York. In big urban markets, they are working with Greystar and JPG and the big corporate landlords that own, a huge amount of the rental units. This is not your mom and pop landlord. Like, they are not paying for a subscription to RealPage, but the huge buildings and the big corporate landlords are all in cahoots on this and just completely colluding to jack up the prices of basic housing. It's something you can't really go without.
Well, I mean, would you be surprised if grocers are doing the same thing?
Grocers, there's a little bit of a different dynamic going on. So there's an old antitrust enforcement statute that actually Lena Khan was dusting off at the very end of the Biden administration called the Robinson-Patman Act. And that ensures that grocers, so for example, if you are Frito-Lay and you make a bunch of Doritos chips and Walmart wants to put those Doritos on their shelves, and because Walmart is going to buy 7 billion bags of Doritos chips, you give Walmart a better deal. You say, because you're buying in bulk quantities, you can have them for a little cheaper than your neighborhood bodega. There is a statute on the books called the Robinson-Patman Act that prohibits Frito-Lay or any producer from giving a discount that is disconnected from cost. So if at a huge scale, it is actually cheaper to produce, 7 billion bags of Doritos, you can pass on those savings to a retailer. But I mean, at some point, there's no difference between the bag of Doritos that you're making. And so This is actually a statute that Zoran has talked about using within New York City. I think this is a huge thing of if we're going to have public grocery stores, something we need to use. But it should not cost your local grocery store or your local bodega way more to acquire the bag of Doritos. So then the Walmart down the street can charge $1.50 for it. And you have no choice but to charge $4 for it. Everyone should share in the benefits of those discounts. And unfortunately, in the grocery market, this is really ubiquitous.
Well, Liz Pancotti, your work is phenomenal. I'll always love having you on the show. People can check out the Groundwork Collaborative and also this analysis on Trump devouring Americans' Thanksgiving budgets, how prices are up 10% across the board. Appreciate your time today, Liz. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Oh, yes. Happy. I'll pass that along to him and he'll get really embarrassed. Quick break, folks, because I'm just going to adjust my camera. There's something up with it. And then I want to talk about this Tennessee special election, and then we'll wrap up the first hour of the show. are back, folks. Hopefully my camera's getting a little bit better. Had to restart some things. We were actually going to be speaking to Afton Ben today, but unfortunately, obviously very busy with the special election coming up on December 2nd, which is Tuesday. She had to reschedule. But I still wanted to make sure that we covered this race because of how important it is. Here is a local news report they had on the director of Emerson College polling to talk about a poll that just came out this morning that is really promising about this race. As a reminder, this was a Trump 20-point district. And right now, Emerson, which is a very good pollster, has the Democrat Afton Ben as within 2 points of the Republican opponent. She's spoken out about the genocide in Gaza. She, I think, called it a genocide in April 2024. So when we're talking about these litmus tests about who you can trust, that's a pretty great step in the right direction. And unlike what you would have heard from the traditional pundits during the Biden era, turns out it's not this major electoral poison pill if you stand up for universal human rights and against the genocide and the slaughter of a population. So this is where polling looks like with likely voters in this race.
That we thought might become competitive. And we jumped in the field this week on Monday and Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We collected the data. We have a sample of about 600, a margin of error of about plus or minus 3.9%, which is about an 8-point swing. But one key point of the weighting for this polling as compared to previous polls is that this is intended to look at likely voters here in the 7th district. So it's not a general audience poll. It's not even a registered voter poll. It drills down to who they think is likely to vote. And when we look at those numbers, it looks not like a 22-point district that Trump won by, but closer to like a 10, 12-point district based on those turnout numbers. We'll obviously see what happens come next week. But at this time, that's how the weighting is done. So if you looked at our results here, I don't want you to compare them with our New Jersey, Virginia, California, because each survey is a study where we learn different things about the constituents. And in this poll, we decided to weight it based on the turnout model from the primary, where the Republicans outturned the Democrats about 55-45. And then we added in those new voters who didn't vote in the primary.
All right, pause it here. That's good. I think we can get a sense there where you see Matt Van Epps, 48%, Afton Ben is at 46%, and then you have that 5% down there. But this, as I mentioned, Ben has called Israel's actions a genocide before. This is a district that is the result of a resignation by a Republican, Mark Green. And he resigned, I guess, in July. But when we're talking about these incredibly thin margins in the House, this race could make it even harder for Mike Johnson to do his job, which is, of course, something that we support. I'm trying to find, I have this, here it is. There's also been a ton of money that's been spent in this race. In just one special election, this is reporting from the Tennessee Lookout. Super PACs have now spent $7 million in Middle Tennessee U.S. House special election with a week to go. You have a lot of Democrats that are spending a lot. I think it was the largest individual donation was J.B. Pritzker, who's been kind of dumping some money in across different races in the country, since he's a very rich man. And Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix, also poured money in. But you have Republicans. MAGA Inc. has spent nearly $1.2 million in this race. Club for Growth and Conservatives for American Excellence spent a combined $1 million. MAGA Inc. is Trump's primary PAC, whose largest individual donors this year are Jeff Yass, a billionaire investor who most notably owns a significant stake in Chinese social video company TikTok, and Kelsey Warren, the billionaire owner of Energy Transfer Partners. you remember that name. Democratic super PACs have spent a lot as well, but that just underscores the importance of the race here. So even though we weren't able to interview the candidate today, wanted to make sure that we put this on your radar. If you're in Tennessee, you know people in Tennessee who may be in this district, check it out, talk to them, tell them how important this race is. It's next Tuesday. So December 2nd, Tennessee's 7th District. Watch out, folks. With that, we're going to wrap up the first part of this program and head into the fun half. This show relies on your support. Join themajorityreport.com. You can become a member. You can IM the show. We'll read your IMs. Have some fun. Matt, what's happening
Open conversation is the way of humans connecting.
That's so beautiful.
Of humans connecting.
What's happening on Left Reckoning and the Jacobin show?
No Left Reckoning this week. We took it off for Thanksgiving, but there will be a new Jacobin show on Friday with Kurt Hackbart and Jose Luis of the Soberania podcast. Jose Luis has recently been on Majority Report here. And we'll have a Sunday show for patrons as well. Also, folks, check out the Sunday show, patreon.com/Left Reckoning, where we talked to Kowalski from Nebraska about the future of rural Americas and farming, and it did not look good, folks.
Not look good. All right. Check out our merch store. Check out the whistles.
Well, yeah, we got whistles,
we got
whistles, stickers, hats, shirts, all of it.
All that jazz.
One-stop shop.
Exactly. Check it out, folks. Shop.majorityreportradio.com. Corporations Ate My Baby says, I'm a proud new MR member. Everyone should be. That's right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. If my soundboard was working, I would give you a shofar, but I got to fix it over the break. So see you in the fun half.
Who is focusing so
3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now. And I don't think it's going to be the same as it looks like in 6 months from now. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to be better 6 months from now than it is 3 months from now. But I think around 18 months out, we're going to look back and go like, wow. What? What is that going on? It's nuts. Wait a second. Hold on for a second.
The Majority Report.
Emma, welcome to the program.
Hey.
Matt.
What is up, everyone?
Nomiki.
You did it.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Bradley, you want to say hello?
Sorry to disappoint everyone. I'm just a random guy.
It's all the boys today.
Fundamentally false.
No, I'm sorry. Women's...
Stop talking for a second. Now let me finish.
Where is this coming from, dude?
But dude, you want to smoke this 7A?
Yes.
Hi, me? This me?
Yes.
Is this me?
Is it me?
It is you.
Is this me? Hello, is this me?
I think it is you. Who is you? No sound. Every single freaking day. What's on your mind?
Sports. We can discuss free markets and we can discuss capitalism.
I'm gonna go throw up.
Libertarians. They're so stupid, though. Common sense says, of course.
Gobbledygook.
We fucking nailed him.
So what's 79 plus 21?
Challenge Matt.
I'm positively quivering.
I believe 96, I want to say. 857-210-501. 1/2. 3/8.
9/11, for instance.
$3,400, $1,900.
6, 5, 4, $3 trillion sold. It's a zero-sum game.
Actually, you're making me think less of it.
But let me say this. Poop.
You can call it satire. Sam goes, it's satire.
On top of it all,
Yeah.
my favorite part about you is just like every day, all day, like
Yeah.
everything you do.
Without a doubt. Hey, buddy, we see you. All right, folks.
It's just the weak being weeded out, obviously.
Yeah, sun's out, guns out. I don't know.
But you should know.
People just don't like to entertain ideas anymore.
I have a question. Who cares?
Our chat is enabled, folks.
I love it.
I do love that.
Look, gotta jump gotta be quick. I gotta jump.
I'm losing it, bro.
2 o'clock. We're already late, and the guy's being a dick. So screw him. Sent to a gulag?
Outrageous.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.
We are back, folks. It is the fun half of the Majority Report. We'll read your IMs and then get to some clips.
Every American will soon receive their own NetBed card.
He sounds so much more buttoned up in the AI version of him. Uday and Kusei Lutnick. You can buy a turkey poult for only $10. Raise your own turkey, everyone. Well, that's very hard.
Yeah, I'll raise my turkey in the litter room.
Yeah, yeah. Hack all the things. Emma lies. They will not read your IMs. They will not release the truth of the link between Bigfoot and the secret National Parks Intertunnel Network used to sell harvested organs to the Greys. The truth is out there, people. I do not get that one.
Sure you don't.
Yeah. Lavender allergy. If the Democrats are serious about asking soldiers to defy legal orders, they need to push to legalize unionization in the armed forces. I mean, interesting. Yeah.
You're literally not like if you get a sunburn, you can get in trouble in the military
Oh
because
my-
you're government property. You're not about to get unionized.
Yeah, that's but I appreciate the sentiment. Kentucky Fried Kentucky says weather has been killer for a lot of produce growers as well. Some growers I work with lost all tomatoes and squash this summer because of too much rain, and then lost late season produce because of drought. Also not helping them is the fact that crop insurance options are completely insufficient for specialty crop growers. Most don't buy it because adjusters treat their crops like row crops. Desire the fact that weather events affect specialty crops more quickly than they do row crops. Let's turn to some clips, shall we? All right, we'll start. Let's you want to do 6 and 7 because they work together. So Kristi Noem, this ad I guess aired during Fox and Friends recently.
I think today.
Today
or yesterday.
I mean, it looks like fascist propaganda because
Just straightforwardly what it is.
it is fascist propaganda, right? If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, Kristi Noem will probably shoot it. Although maybe it's not furry and cute enough.
And you can shoot ducks.
You can.
It's horse girl propaganda too, which cracks me up.
Very true. It's weird how they're leaning into the frontiersman thing. Like, I mean, Matt, I would love your thoughts on this, but it's like the romanticization of this as we're, in the midst of a genocide that's funded by our country and motivated by colonialism. It feels particularly disgusting, but here she is, full cowgirl cosplay on a show starring Kevin Costner that everyone's parent likes, but makes me feel
Yellowstone?
icky for some reason, and I can't put my finger on why. I think I solved some of it by watching this ad.
Why do I love these wide open spaces? They remind me of why our forefathers came here. Not just for its beauty, but for the freedom only America provides. I'm Kristi Noem. From the cowboys who tamed the West, to the titans who built our cities, to the dreamers who chased the impossible, America has always rewarded vision and grit. Our greatness calls people to us for a chance to prosper, to live how they choose, to become part of something special. Anyone who searches for freedom can always find a home here, but that freedom's a precious thing, and we defend it vigorously. You cross the border illegally, we'll find you. Break our laws, we'll punish you. Harm American citizens, there will be consequences. But if you come here the right way, your American dream can be as big as these endless skies. From President Trump and me, welcome home.
Welcome home. The largest growth in detentions, as tabulated by Austin Coker in the past few months, has been people with no criminal record. There's an ongoing lawsuit finding that the vast majority of arrests in Chicago, in general, have been people with no criminal records. 78% of the arrests are low risk, according to the government's own data that Austin put together in Chicago. And then in that raid on the apartment complex that was being neglected by a corporate landlord that seemed to be very much on board with this action against their own tenants to try to push them out, there were only like two, I believe, people, or you could fit it on one hand, who had a criminal record that were detained in that raid. So what is this protecting the homeland from? Because they'll talk about criminality, but what they genuinely mean is whiteness and a mythologizing of that whiteness and a Christian nationalism and a white nationalism that they meld together. For just like, I mean, that history, the way that it's romanticized is amazing. Like, yeah, from the land that we stole to the land that we built skyscrapers on top of it. You get to feel proud about it. Look at me in my cowboy hat.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where she is the Black Hills, which was a big piece of land, very central to a number of different tribes, because it's, sticks out in the middle of a giant, prairie that you have all these mountains and sort of wooded areas. It's sort of spiritually significant. So when America decided, we're going to take all of this land after the Civil War, but we'll let you keep your holy mountains and everything like that. That lasted for like not quite a decade. And then Custer got out there and said, there's a lot of gold out there. So maybe we should just take it. And so there's a city in there literally called Custer where people started going because they were going to infiltrate it and take it over. And ultimately, that's what happened. The land that was supposed to be set aside through treaties for the natives was just taken because of not the freedom of like the individuals, but the basically bankers back east that wanted access to a whole bunch of new precious metal to play with. So, I mean, the frontier is significant in America in history just because for most of it, it was the outlet for class antagonism that Europe didn't have. So where the cities get a little bit too competitive and there's not enough to do with particularly like the excess male population, you tell them to go go colonize for you. And whereas Europe, you have to send them to like Africa or, I mean, Europe sent colonists everywhere. In America, you just send them a little bit west. And, they put down the rail and all that money filters to the banks.
Right. I mean, that is really, I think, a uniqueness to the United States and also to Israel, where it's like the colonizing population too is so integral and living on the land and expanding it too, in the present, at least in the case of Israel. But it's just like it's you look at how Native Americans were treated in this country. The Trail of Tears is like the Nakba that is still ongoing, and the images we saw of the forced displacement in the Gaza Strip. The confinement camps, the internment camps for indigenous people, where you just look at images or how they were confined in that way, and they're literally just concentration camps.
People act like the Boer War was the first concentration camp. That's because it's white people,
right?
White colonizers in there. Look at the Dakota concentration camps in like 1863, I think it was, during the Civil War. It's the exact same sort of thing. It's just like right up against a river that used to be, again, it used to be their holy site, but now it's a concentration camp for them as we're about to ethnically cleanse Minnesota of native populations and move them out west. Yeah, it's and the truth is that Israel and who we know as Zionists now, they weren't the first Zionists.
No.
The first Zionists were the Americans who came here and said, "This is all ours because of the Bible."
Manifest Destiny, though.
Cotton Mather used the terms like what it is, Amalekites, and all these different sort of biblical phrases that Zionists use for Palestinians and stuff like that. The exact same language being used from the exact same text. So there's nothing original about what's going on in Israel. Even the genocide, look at the Mystic Massacre in Connecticut for an early example of just the way that when Zionists, and that includes Cotton Mather to Bibi Netanyahu, when they get in the right mood, they will just kill women and children because the Bible said they can.
Manifest Destiny is just Zionism. We religiously edict. It's a religious edict to take our land, basically. That is how it's justified, and it's just more difficult to stomach right now for some people. This colonization process through genocide too, because it's being live streamed and people are seeing what it looked like back in the day, but it's happening right now in mass, just with technologically advanced weaponry.
Also, the long-term trend, and Republicans can try to blame this on Democrats for what they want, but all those sort of rural areas that are supposedly so good for freedom or whatever, they're hollowing out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's not just like reservations. It's reservations are going to be massively impacted by like these sorts of cuts and stuff like that. They're almost like always the first and most acutely impacted. But the entire sort of center of America, particularly when like the hospital cuts happen and stuff like that, is just dying. And it's not. And this is like a half a century trend.
Yep.
And the truth is because the only reason it was there in the first place is because of massive government action. You wouldn't have had any sort of major small towns in the Dakotas or in the Plains if it wasn't for government support of things like rail or massive giveaways of land to help people settle it. And that sort of stuff. And
the Homestead Act, I mean, that
exactly.
is basically essential to giving, financially incentivizing that kind of settlement. And I mean, look at the West Bank.
And land grant universities, the major sort of economic hub of most of these states are the blue cities that are around the universities that were, again, land grant universities by the radical Republicans for a brief time in the 19th century. And we haven't done any of that. In fact, the Republicans are attacking that stuff. We are seeing Ross Perot talked about the big sucking sound of all the jobs leaving. Like we're in the middle. The train is still, it's just spinning faster and faster now, but the plug has been open for a long time.
This is an older comment by J.D. Vance, but I just think it fits nicely into this conversation. This was him in late October in Mississippi, speaking at the University of Mississippi, using really old school racist tropes about indigenous people and what settlers found when they came to this country. That just, I think, rounds out our discussion here about how this administration is. I mean, this is arguably the oldest fascist American myth. Right? The depiction of the settlers in this way. Would you say that, Matt? Or,
well, I wouldn't call it fascist, but I'll say why after we get done playing.
Or maybe not fascist, but genocidal, or okay, we'll see. We'll see. I want the right adjective.
Work within the political constraints that we have. Now, here, let me just say something about this. And somebody asked me earlier about my Christian values, and one of the points I made is that when the settlers came to the New World, they found a very widespread child sacrifice. I imagine there are some people who don't agree with my view on the pro-life issue. Let me just make an observation. If you go to historical archaeological sites where there were brothels, and the two oldest businesses in the world are gambling and prostitution, so there were brothels even in very ancient civilizations. If you go back to ancient brothels and you dig up the bones of the women who are working in these places, you will very often find a lot of children who were buried with them. And the answer is that whenever a society decides to discard innocent babies, they also don't treat their women very well. And whenever a society mistreats its women, it is very often the babies who come right after that. There is a reason why Christian civilization ended the practice of child sacrifice all over the world, and it's one of the great accomplishments of Christian civilization.
Yeah, why sacrifice them when you can enslave them?
Yeah, why sacrifice them when you can put them rip them away from their parents and make them cut off all their hair and then abuse them and then bury them in mass graves as these schools that the white Christians threw these Native American children into it's been discovered that they did that? Mass sexual abuse, torture, killing these children as well, in addition to abusing them mentally at the very least. You guys aren't into child sacrifice. What about all those rural hospital closures? 50% at risk now because of the Republican bill that you just rammed through. What do you think?
By the way,
those kids are going to be all right?
The abortions that will still continue to happen will be like highly connected folks who are able to help it. So like that happened at brothels. Like, yes, like guess what? Women who work at brothels have abortions sometimes.
Or have children. Yeah.
But I mean, in the history, like the local doctor will have a relationship with the local brothel, and you know what? That's good for fucking everybody there, everybody in the community that they do, because otherwise everyone's gonna get fucking syphilis. But like again, you bring up the relevant thing is. Well, first of all, why I hesitate to call that fascism is just that's sort of like a liberal interventionist myth. Is we saved them. We had to do this to save them from how bad and savage they are. And you look at like the history of colonization. When the British got in on it, it was after the Spanish and Portuguese, and they were telling their communities, they're like, "Hey, why do we have to build all these ships for us to go colonize like Jamaica and that sort of stuff?" And Cromwell's like, "Well, because those people want freedom. The Spanish and the Portuguese have treated them so badly that they need us to come and protect them." It is like a sort of it is definitely racist and paternalistic, but it is this sort of thing of like we're the good guys though deep down. Whereas you zoom out and you see like, okay, maybe in like the pre-Columbus brothels of the New World, there was some abortions occasionally. You instituted a system that put millions of children and considered them not children but property for laboring. And you wore their bodies out so they would die. And not to mention all the people that in the like that are bringing Africans over to be enslaved and work in fields. How many of them died on the way there? Like, okay, I'm glad you had some sort of which tribes even had this sort of abortive policy. Like, I would draw a big question mark next to like citation needed.
Forgive me for not just taking J.D. Vance's anthropological analysis and historical analysis at face value.
From Catholic fascists today.
But how does he know that those babies were the result of an abortion? Women died in childbirth fairly regularly, and oftentimes the child wouldn't survive. Would that not make a little bit more sense as to why they were being buried together, or is it spooky, scary voodoo? But like the invocation of babies. And I'm sorry, I know people might be like, why does everything come back to Zionism in Israel? But it's the whole world is in Gaza for all I care. It is exactly what the Israelis were trying to do to justify their genocide when they talked about the beheaded babies. They went to it right away. It's a way to talk about and dehumanize an indigenous population and basically say that they are too savage to know any better, so we might as well just slaughter them like animals.
It's a warrant for violence.
It's a warrant for, yeah. I mean, and the screams without words. How can we use that as a way to justify violence? They assaulted our women. That is old colonial tropes as well. It's just so important that as we have this historical revisionism at the very top from a Christian nationalist psychotic perspective, that we recognize that we are living in a history today that is not so dissimilar from the ones that is being erased by these fascists in order for you to obscure that very reality, so you don't fundamentally understand that fact, and that what will people in passing will acknowledge what we did to the indigenous Americans of this country, the millions and millions of people that were victimized by the genocide in the colonization of this land, that, we'll give lip service and say, we know better now, but we're doing it as we speak.
Sacrifice babies for God? Well, if it's not Jesus and like the God of the Bible, I'm going to have to say no to that. Sacrifice babies for cotton? That's how you build a civilization.
Oh, that was that book I read a good amount, but like I did, that Sven Beckert book Empire of Cotton.
Oh, Slavery's Capitalism? Or maybe it was Empire of Cotton.
I think it was Empire of Cotton. Sacrificing babies to Doge. How many children have died due to those USAID cuts? Is that better or like worse than just sacrificing a baby to the gods?
Or just throwing out a bunch of pre-digested peanut butter to let a bunch of African babies starve to death.
Yep.
But those are different babies.
But that's because Elon wanted it, not, and that's very sensible. MJS 617, didn't Columbus and his ilk impose a monthly gold quota on native children that was physically impossible to meet, for which the penalty for failure was cutting off their hands?
Yeah, the most important thing about Columbus is that he was in his time, which is to say 350 years ago, was thought to be doing way too much brutality over there and paid the price for it in Europe.
Yeah.
And we act like the stupid the most brain dead sort of approach that people take to this stuff is, it was a long time ago, the world was such a bad place there. The world can actually get worse. Like there are certain things that we're worse at than in terms of I would say civic responsibility than we were 50 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The world can become a worse place.
It can. Let's what should we do here? I want to get maybe one more out of the way. Although let's just do this healthcare thing 13 and then we'll do that. The one more serious story. So Trump on Monday, we covered this a little bit, I believe, said that he was announcing a new policy framework for healthcare because the ACA subsidies are expiring in January. These are the 2021 subsidies that need to be renewed if they're going to make sure that people's premiums don't skyrocket. But folks are already getting messages saying this is what the increase is going to be, and for some people it's double, it's hundreds of dollars more. It's gonna really impact people. So the Republicans are at odds about this. Trump wants to his proposal was basically centered around a 2-year extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies, and then they had some income caps included in his proposal. But the problem is that he didn't talk to anyone in Congress about this. We're seeing all this grumbling from the Republicans. They're so upset after voluntarily giving over all of their power to Donald Trump that he doesn't respect them or care what they think. And now, given the results from the elections a few weeks ago that showed just a complete wipeout for the Republicans in the off year, they are very concerned about the midterms. And so now they're starting to whine about how Trump is just so mean to us and he doesn't allow us to legislate. It's almost like he's authoritarian in some way. Well, so Trump had this proposal, but then congressional Republicans got pissed. And you'll just see over the course of this minute-long video how slapdash and amateurish this whole thing is.
We're learning President Trump is planning to unveil a new health care proposal. And at this point, we're still waiting to know exactly what's in it. But we're told it could include a temporary extension of the Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies, which are due to expire at the end of the year. They were at the center of the government shutdown. However, the subsidies could come with some fresh guardrails that could include new income limits and a requirement that everyone pay some form of a premium. Now, we should note that if the subsidies do expire, millions of Americans are expected to see their premiums more than double next year. Zach Cooper is joining us now. He's a professor of health policy at Yale University. Zach, thanks for being here. As I noted, we are very much still waiting for specifics here. I'm sorry, this has actually been, sorry, Zach, we're getting breaking news while I'm talking to you. I have learned that the White House has postponed its expected unveiling of this new health care proposal. It was expected to be unveiled today. We'll learn more, hopefully, about that in the coming moments. But again, this is postponed, but we can talk about the ideas here.
Oh, brutal. She did her whole intro and then that whole segment scrapped, and I've been there. She's like, God, what am I going to talk about for the next 5-minute block? Damn it. But I mean, come on, dude.
Why'd you think they were going to have anything?
Yeah, right. Well, I guess, but if he said in unveiling this, and then apparently, Mike Johnson got pissed because Republicans in the House are opposed to the idea. They are happy to see people's premiums explode. But Trump still has that, crowd surfing sense where he knows it's going to be bad and people are going to be pissed at him and the Republicans more than they already are. And so...
Well, and even without Trump, Republicans can't get their shit together on this because you have the ones who are like, I don't want to get wiped out by making people pay $1,200 a month for shitty health care next year and have to explain, actually, it's Joe Biden's fault for some reason.
Right. Remember that guy? Nobody even remembers Joe Biden, and Trump is still trying to blame him.
That's Trump's problem, is they're going to try to do this. It's all Joe's economy. Do you remember, even in year 2 of Biden, you had to remind people that Trump used to be president?
Right.
This time moves very quickly. And that's actually, it paid off for Trump's benefit because it's why he sort of got a new lease on life after it. People forgot what it was like when he was president. But yeah.
And forgot about the whole coup attempt thing, which is in part, I would say, the fault of the Democrats for not moving very quickly to prosecute him, a la Jair Bolsonaro. Thank Merrick Garland for that.
And so they're going to have the same problem where it's John Fetterman in 2024 said that they wanted this to expire, so it's actually their fault. People are like, well, that doesn't help me. You have control of the White House and Congress and the Supreme Court, and I'm still paying. I'm just not going to be able to afford this.
Yeah.
I'm just a health insurance list now.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are just saying, I'm opting out. I won't go to the doctor. I won't go to the dentist. And if there's an emergency, God help me, I'll just have to go to the emergency room, and we'll try to avoid that situation. But people are going to die. People are going to die without health insurance because they are going to avoid getting preventative care. There's no money in preventative care.
I mean, I'm shocked. I think that the people, the horrible thing is the people that are going to, for most people, I mean, putting myself in that situation in my current health, I would just not have health care. I'd be like, well, I'm going to go without it for a year. The people that have to know they have to because they need it for something.
Right.
And you're bankrupting the sick people.
And let alone what they're doing to our air, right? These are going to be health impacts for a long period of time. This libertarian Maha approach, which is just basically we'll let industry do their thing, but we'll give you some sort of supplement advice that if you follow, you can be some of the lucky few, like Leatherface RFK Jr. But the EPA, this came out yesterday, or I guess a few days ago, is abandoning a rule that would strengthen limits on fine particle pollution and move scientists and experts say could lead to dirtier air and more U.S. deaths. They are vacating a Biden administration era rule that imposed stricter standards on fine particulate matter, measuring less than 2.5 micrometers in diameter, including soot, which ranks as the nation's deadliest air pollutant. So there you have it. They are trying to get rid of your health care and have no plan for it. And even when Trump tries to backfill it, the Republicans are too bloodthirsty and too captured by industry to coalesce behind it, even if it might save them in the midterms. I mean, that's where it's these resignations, I do think that we're going to see more. I don't understand how it can't happen. because they got to understand, like, this is not going to work. I mean, I don't know. Some of these districts that are the most impacted, which is the saddest thing, are the deepest red. The most rural areas are the deepest red, and they're gerrymandered in a way to ensure that they have Republican representation fairly steadily.
Yeah, and to the extent that those Republicans actually live in those districts, once they retire and get the fuck out, they will not be.
Yeah, and they are decimating their own communities, and that is supposedly representation in our system. They are signing the death warrant of their constituents in order to, and they did, to go along with what Donald Trump wanted. So that is really, and they are protected by the gerrymandering, by the corporate money, by the institutions. So that's really the state of our democracy. I can't think much more of a sadder indictment on it. But maybe, yeah, the removal of this EPA rule is pretty bad too. PM2.5, which is roughly 1/30th the width of a human hair, can travel through a person's lungs and easily infiltrate the bloodstream. Exposure can trigger short-term respiratory problems such as coughing, wheezing, difficulty breathing, and asthma exacerbation, according to the EPA. And the Environmental Protection Agency under Donald Trump is doing away with that rule. Because Biden. But really, because polluters want it. Progressive Blob 2028. Well, the last 15 years did prove that labor laws don't count for kind you are summoned to work on a touchscreen phone. I think that was a typo. Steve in Alaska. Hey gang, I paid $63 a month for me and my wife as an Air Force retiree. It covers everything. Healthcare for all is possible. Yep. Fratter 12, child sacrifice likely started as a solution to resource scarcity in pre-agricultural societies without access to consistent surplus. Religious aspects were likely grafted on to give a horrible reality some sort of meaning. Evil.
Well, let's do slavery on this entire continent because of it.
Yeah. Evil woke communists sacrificing kids to God is outdated. We sacrifice kids to capital now, much more civilized.
Also the Second Amendment.
Yeah. Poly-Marxist. More news from Nashville. The Boring Company, who is Elon's company, who was making our bullshit Tesla loop, had workers leave the site due to not being paid and also ignoring OSHA guidelines.
What? Not obeying OSHA guidelines at an Elon Musk factory?
Tisk.
Look at the lawsuit that chased Elon out of California in regards to the Fremont factory and the advanced culture of racism there that could only have been instituted from the top down from a guy who fled apartheid.
Yeah.
His family first fled to apartheid and then fled from
because it was apartheid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More like flocked to apartheid.
Yeah, they flocked to it and fled when it ended. A little flock and fled.
a little flock and flee.
Actually, we talked about that with Brendan James on last week's Jacobin show.
Nice.
Errol
nice,
Musk,
nice.
the big psycho.
Scary Carrie. Why sacrifice them when you can just not vaccinate them?
There is a measles outbreak in South Carolina.
Yeah.
150-something cases right now.
And I'm seeing norovirus outbreak as well.
Does anybody
that ruined my life?
Yeah.
I don't want to see that again.
I had that probably like last year. You know, I'm getting more sick after COVID. I mean, it's anecdotal, but it's just I used to have a pretty iron like immune system, but you know, I only had COVID twice, and it's no joke. Tony from Maine, the cure to the male loneliness epidemic is just becoming a colonial settler. I mean, that's basically what they're trying to sell.
I will say the frontier was a exceedingly lonely place for men and especially the women who were dragged out there with them.
Yes.
That's the only place you can really play the harmonica.
All right, we'll do this then. What number is here, 9. Piers Morgan went on the Rubin Report for an exchange of ideas. And, you know, Piers Morgan goes with the wind. He was pretty active in the whole genocide denial piece when it was unpopular to be talking about the genocide in a way that was accurate. And now that it's more popular, he is a better commentator on it. And so, okay.
He still takes his chance to say, like, oh, you were right about this too soon type of guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
As opposed to me, Piers, who like was both sides in it the entire time.
And there were a lot of people that were doing that now like act as if they own this cause and are crusaders about it. It's a little gross, to be honest, just given the carnage that we've seen. But this is fun, though, because Dave is so stupid and bad at like rebutting these very basic points.
He's also like kind of non-confrontational. I never noticed this about him, but he really like there's a lot more going on. Not anything intelligent, but there's a lot more going on in his head that he's not saying.
He's a coward.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, he's a coward.
Yeah.
And this is evident here. So here they are talking about Gaza, and Dave tries to argue that there is no starvation in Gaza.
Never have been.
Okay.
In a way that I've since this year had more hammering from the pro-Israeli side. So,
well, you addressed it there. That's why we put that clip in.
And I think that's just
because there has been a shift. That's what I wanted.
No question.
Right. So I think that is so. First off, you acknowledge that there's been no starvation, correct?
No,
you don't acknowledge.
I don't acknowledge that.
Well, there was starvation of the Israeli hostages, but you
yes.
So
can you pause it? Okay. So let's say you acknowledge that there is no starvation. Piers is about to list the numerous organizations that have documented the imposed starvation of the people in Gaza by the Israeli government. But this is where it's just fun, in maybe not fun, but amazing to watch how quickly Dave will leapfrog to his next excuse to almost throw the conversation off. Piers returns to it, but okay, so you're basically saying that there was no starvation except Hamas choosing not to give food to the Israeli hostages. That would be his contention, even though the reality is that if these hostages, and many of them, were in, I think were very thin when they were released, they're impacted by the imposed starvation by the Israeli government as well, because they were in the Gaza Strip, which is an open-air concentration camp where Israel controls the borders, land, and sea.
There's a quote here. This is from my website, Zionism.observer. I've never seen this website before, but it has some good information here. It's just some quotes. The only way to achieve victory is through the complete conquest of the Strip, a total cessation of, quote, humanitarian aid, and the encouragement of immigration. That's Itamar Ben-Gvir, the Minister of National Security of Israel, big-time fascist. Here's another one. Just there's a whole list of them, but this is just the very next one. Quote, Moshe Seder, a Knesset member. I'm interested in starving the Gazans and imposing a siege to the max. Whoever wants to leave will leave to a humanitarian zone that we will administer. So, like, this is not a debate, even among Israeli officials. This was a policy. It's weird that Dave thinks he can talk to, like, fully grown adults who are in the information profession that about his, like, sort of fairy tales, liberal Zionist fairy tales about this all being, lies and blood libels against the Jews. It's not that.
Well, how about Bezalel Smotrich, who said this a year ago? He talked about how the starvation would be, quote, justified and moral. No one in the world will allow us to starve 2 million people, even though it might be justified and moral in order to free the hostages.
Itamar Ben-Gvir, here's another one from this year. The food and aid depots should be bombed in order to create military and political pressure.
There is,
zero debate about this.
This is literally the equivalent of saying that the sky is green and grass is blue. That's the equivalent.
Actually, it's the equivalent of saying Hitler, there's no proof that the Nazis intended to Holocaust the Jews.
Yes.
That's exactly where they're at right now.
And I think that's just
because there has been a shift. That's what I wanted.
No question.
Right. So I think that is so. First off, you acknowledge that there's been no starvation, correct?
No,
you don't acknowledge.
I don't acknowledge that.
Well, there was starvation of the Israeli hostages, but you
yes.
So where are the videos and images of the starving Gazans?
Well, I've seen a lot, but you would dismiss them all as fakes.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, if you can show me one, I'll tweet it out.
Okay, here's my problem with this. Yeah. So the problem is my number one problem with this.
Yeah.
You can say there's no starvation. I can say there's starvation. The UN says there was starvation, but you guys don't believe a word the UN says. The other official bodies say there was starvation.
Israeli officials themselves say, we're about to starve them.
Yes.
You don't want to hear a word they say. Israel denies everything. And in the end, the biggest problem is that Israel will not allow, to this day, international journalists into Gaza to do their jobs. And I keep asking, why is that? Because you and I can...
Well, because they're virtually all activists, not journalists.
No, I don't mean Palestinian journalists.
Yeah.
I mean international journalists.
No.
I mean, the international...
So where are the
Reuters, let in AP,
such a
let in the BBC,
All right, pause it
let in Sky.
Yeah. So where are the videos? They won't let international... There are countless videos. I literally don't even know what to say to that. I don't even know how you can react to that.
I would guess the videos that we've seen that we're talking about were filmed by Palestinians and uploaded by Palestinians, and Dave doesn't consider that
those are activists.
valid.
They're activists.
Exactly. And also, anyone who works for any news organization that isn't like, I don't know, the Jerusalem Post, is basically an activist.
But okay, well, the Palestinian journalist, I'm sure he would call terrorists. He's saying basically that any international journalist that would want to go into Gaza, as Piers rattles it off here, Sky News, the BBC, CNN, they're all activists too, apparently. And the images of the thousands of images that you've seen of starving children in Gaza, Dave doesn't believe. Just to summarize where he's at here.
It's also
NBC,
a war zone.
It's
a war zone.
Yeah, but they operate in war zones all over the world.
But so when this all ended a few weeks ago, when Trump does this thing, where are all the thousands of starving people? I mean, we're seeing videos of restaurants that are
let the journalists in to do their job.
But I mean, right now, where are they? These people have phones.
How do you know?
Live stream. What do you mean?
Do you see where they are?
Of course, there are plenty of videos.
Can't.
What do you mean? There are plenty of videos.
The media
they
are not
phones.
allowed to do their jobs, Dave.
No.
And I have a big problem.
Can you pause this? So just to, Dave believes, yes, there's some in the north of Gaza in many ways too, and in other parts of the Strip, they're trying to rebuild their lives, and there have been some attempts to reopen businesses to feed people there. That Dave believes those images very easily.
And resents them.
But the images of the starving Gazan children, he doesn't believe those. It's just interesting what images out of Gaza he chooses to believe and which ones he doesn't.
I mean, this is like, the Zionists are insane. Like, this is like when in the first months after October 7th and all these different, like Jabali or whatever, refugee camps would be bombed. And the Zionists would be like, well, I know what you think. It sounds bad when we bomb a refugee camp. Those refugee camps have been there for 70 years. It's like, and they're semi-permanent structures. That makes it worse.
Yes. Why is that the case? And also, it's also incredible that Dave doesn't have the ability to even address the underlying structural reason here that Israel's even able to cut off food and water and aid. Why would that capacity even exist unless this is a population that is being basically corralled into and kept in a very small area and bombed like shooting fish in a barrel and then starved? If Israel can turn off their water and food, what does that say about the symmetrical or lack thereof nature of this conflict? Let's keep going.
National newspapers.
But the Gazans have phones, and they're showing videos of...
You can say that no Gazan has starved at all. That's entirely your prerogative.
Yeah.
The reports by almost every official body say the opposite, but you don't believe them. My view is you're entitled to not believe anyone, right? It's fine. I had that thing with Meghan Markle. Didn't believe her either. It cost me my job. However, the best way to get to the truth is let journalists who are used to covering in war zones, let them go in and do their job, particularly now we have the ceasefire. So let them go in. There is a reason the Israeli government is not letting the media in. And I fear I know what it is. They are terrified about what the world will uncover.
I just think that's just.
Well, let him in.
I just think
there's one way to find out.
But there are quite literally, I think, almost 2 million Gazans there. They have phones. They're releasing videos now. They're at restaurants. They're out and about. Why did none of the Hamas fighters, when they're releasing the people, look hungry? A lot of them look fat. They have fresh clothes
I've
and
seen
fresh
lots
haircuts.
of images of Palestinians looking hungry.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't dispute that 20,000 plus children have died, right?
So whose fault is that? Because this seems to be the
He
one.
doesn't even answer. He doesn't even answer. He believes the videos that are coming out that confirm that it's all a lie, but not the ones that contradict it.
I mean, saw a fat guy.
Yeah. I headlined this, but there's this research institute in Germany, the Max Planck Institute for Demographic Research. It's the Europe's second largest institution for demographic research and one of the largest worldwide. They have said that the minimum in deaths in the Gaza Strip is 100,000. And they emphasize that this is the floor. And these are some of the deaths. When we talked to Dr. Tarek Lobani of the GLIA Project, I asked him a little bit about the true death toll. And there are differences in medicine, basically, in how these death tolls are tabulated. And he basically said the official death toll, the 70,000 or whatever that you're hearing, those are people that have gone to a hospital or their death has been verified and they know exactly who it is. And additionally, the ones that are counted in that way are the ones that are conflict related. So even the starvation deaths that we still don't know the true death toll for are not included in that total. And that is the same in this German analysis. So that is basically saying that even the conflict-related deaths, the total that we've been using, is too low by around 30,000. It's 100,000. And then you have hundreds of thousands of people who are either missing or not tabulated in the death toll. Dr. Lubani gave us this example. If you're in a house and your whole family, 12 of you, or 12 family members out of 16 or whatever, are killed, which is a fairly common occurrence and happened all the time throughout the genocide over the past 2 years. Are you going to go to the hospital and risk being out in the open where you can get shot in the head by an IDF soldier or something, or bombed, in order to have those bodies accounted for by the official Gaza Health Ministry? Or are you going to give your family a burial and try to survive? And none of those people are included in the official death toll. So when Piers Morgan says that international journalists going in there and seeing what has happened is of paramount, preventing that is of paramount importance to the Israeli government, it is because the crime is going to be so much greater than they are allowing the world to know. And Dave pretends like it's all a myth. And you gotta wonder, he was in that meeting with Tim Pool and Benjamin Netanyahu earlier this year. They still talk? Does he have an Edward Gregorian-like figure that's helping him out with his show? I mean, he's shown he has zero scruples about who he takes money from. It's been reported that he's been met with the Prime Minister of Israel, and he was over there flying and, with his aviator glasses and his little vest on in Israel a few months ago. I just have questions.
I mean, I'm sure there's some gifts and stuff being exchanged, although what's not being exchanged is any sort of actual awareness of the situation, because Dave Rubin right now is like people like Steven Crowder at the start of the COVID pandemic were like, what's the worst that could happen? 30,000 people dying? No, it's actually going to be much worse than that. But I'll just point out how uncontroversial this is about Gaza. There's the Free Press, Barry Weiss's Free Press, just a pro-Zionist propaganda rag, published this in May 6th, 2025. The Gaza famine myth, talking about how, basically doing what Dave Rubin said. And even this website had to later go and write maybe we were wrong.
Oh.
Just a month later, in July, or 2 months later, the price of flour shows a hunger crisis in Gaza. There have been tremendous lies told about Israel's war. That doesn't mean the threat of starvation isn't real.
Threat.
It is. The Free Press can never put it as starkly as it can. The threat of that was a imposed threat by the Israeli government.
Yes. HJ on Seder says, "Is this normal Zionist or AI Zionist, Ruben?"
It's like AI Zionist because it's like even like I'm sort of shocked by like how bad the Israel defenders, maybe even people on our side of the things that said Rashida Tlaib should apologize for having the gall to say that Israel would bomb a hospital, and then Israel went on to bomb the rest of the hospitals. Like it's shocking to me that people could make those statements about Israel's capabilities for evil when they meet those expectations all the time.
Yep. I saw a guy with a house. Homelessness is over. Ramona Frankenstein. Dave Rubin says there are some 2 million Palestinians in Gaza with phones, and that is not accurate. There were some 2 million people, but now there are significantly fewer people because of Israel's genocide. Dave Rubin is a disgusting freak who should go sit on an effing cactus. Scary Carrie, did you guys see the clip of the gun girl that pooped her pants interviewing a woman eating a burrito about illegals getting free health care?
I missed that somehow.
No. Corporations ate my baby. 1 in 3 women died in childbirth on the prairie. Lots of evil step-parents raised those generations.
Sacrifice into the future of the country.
Chipster and Worcester, can I get a sound drop of encouragement? I work medical and this almost all federal holidays and went to do my regular grocery shopping today, forgetting what tomorrow is. Sound drop, Matt, my board I gotta fix.
We need a positive one. Oh, let's see here.
Open conversation is the way of humans connecting.
You should have just connected with all those people in the grocery store.
You should have connected. Who's that again?
Jim Brewer.
Oh, Jim Brewer.
Here's another one.
And we don't have any more extra money. Like.
I like.
Sounds like me trying to start my car.
It's just that's the punchline. He's doing the punchline.
He's doing the punchline.
It highlights the absurdity.
So you're saying if this was you, it would be pretty embarrassing.
That's devastating. All right, we didn't get to this. Let's. We're in the Zionism territory. What number is our friend? Sarah. She not on the sheet?
Oh, we got no Sarah Hurwitz on this.
All right. Well, all right. No worries. Yeah. Is it from yesterday? Yeah. Okay. Let me just.
Do you want to do the Mike Johnson thing instead?
Sure. We'll just do the Mike Johnson thing and then we'll do Sarah. Right.
This is crazy.
Okay. So, Mike Johnson went on Katie Miller's podcast, and I guess he brought his wife because being alone, like, remember Mike Johnson can't have dinner alone with a woman without, no, it's not Mike Johnson, Mike Pence, sorry. Yeah. Mike Pence can't have dinner alone with a woman without his wife there, but they're both extremely religious, so.
Well, Katie Miller's a feminist, and this is a feminist podcast.
Yes,
and
obviously.
So she wanted to talk to the great woman who's behind a great man.
Right. I didn't know that Mike Johnson allowed his wife to have opinions, although I'm not sure. I mean, it's a little much to say that she has opinions, right? Based on what we've seen, what you're saying, looking at how old she is.
Just looking up how they met.
Yeah, they would be interesting. I would guess church. I would guess church.
On a dating app called Beards.
Yeah. They met at the same church group that Tim Scott met his wife at.
She looks like they're cousins or something.
Conversion summer camp.
In this clip, on Katie Miller's podcast, here's Mike Johnson trying his luck with comedy.
So when I was a state rep in Louisiana, they did an annual contest to find out who was the longest married couple in Louisiana. And so it turned out this elderly black couple in my district was the longest married. They'd been married 82 years, okay? Mm-hmm. So I get to go and present them a certificate from the governor and balloons and all that on Valentine's Day. So I go to their house. They live in a small home in a rural part of my district. and a big happy family. I mean, they had 40 people there. There were children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren.
I went with you.
You went with me. Mr. Player, his name, he was 104, and Mrs. Player was 99. And so, of course, we want to ask him marital advice. What's the secret to a happy marriage? So I lean in, and he says, lean in real close. I said, yes, sir. He said, it's two things. He said, let her think she's the boss. Yes, sir. And buy her a new car every 3 years. I said, all right. And then we looked out the window.
And she had a shiny she
Cadillac.
can't drive it, but she had a beautiful new car.
I don't think she had driven in like 9 years or something, but there's this beautiful car out there, and all the kids are like, that's it, that's the truth.
That's it.
Boy, he can spin a yarn.
Oh.
This is so uncomfortable.
I mean, the corn pop story might have been worse, but that was pretty rough.
At least,
pretty rough.
Biden didn't do an accent in the corn pop.
A black accent? An obvious black accent, which he returned to for the children, too, just in case there was any confusion as to what he was trying to do.
But that's what makes it funny, is to say, that's it.
Yeah. I love, he's talking about marriage advice, how to keep his wife happy. It's just like give her a new car, give her something, a new toy to distract from the fact that I cannot satisfy her because she's going to need a toy.
You know, women are idiots.
Yeah.
Just get you a car and just shut up for a year.
Yeah. Shut your trap. Don't. In more ways than one, because I'm not interested, and just sit beside me and validate me. Do we have him doing that face? That's up next.
Sorry, what?
There's two Mike Johnsons in there.
Oh, here we go. This is another one in the sound sheet. This is 10, I guess.
This is Mike Johnson kind of name dropping some of the cool people he's hung out with since he's been Speaker of the House.
Well, we've already established that he's hung out with black people before. So what more do we need to know in terms of the cool factor? He's got the street cred. I guess
maybe the coolest guy ever.
Well, I saw he does like a cool face here, like a rock star. Maybe this will change my mind. I've only seen the still image of it, so let's see how Mike tries to relate.
Commander's game.
Yes.
Those are perks.
That's true. That's true.
We're getting somewhere. They're perks.
Yes.
What's been the best event or thing you've attended when you were like, that is so cool, I cannot believe I have this job?
Well, the UFC fight was pretty awesome because we were there with Kid Rock and Jelly Roll and Elon and like the whole
You know
team.
who Jelly Roll is?
Do I know? Yes, we have selfies together. There's one hanging.
Matt couldn't even do it. he got
Go back.
so-
We gotta go back. We gotta play it again. That's it. I want to play it again. Are you okay with that?
I'm going to make you watch Billy Crystal after this.
Okay. Or you're gonna make me listen to that song that we love. Or we'll talk.
So why is she dressed like a convict?
Jailbait.
No, we won't be doing the Nuzzy thing, but we do got Billy Crystal.
Thing you've attended when you were like, that is so cool, I cannot believe I have this job.
Well, the UFC fight was pretty awesome because we were there with Kid Rock and Jelly Roll and Elon and like the whole
You know
team.
who Jelly Roll is?
Do I know? Yes, we have selfies together. There's one hanging in my office. No, he's actually a really cool guy.
Empty life.
Yeah, I know who Jelly Roll is.
Enjoy it, Mike, because if this wave of Republican resignations keeps going the way that it looks like, you could be in the minority and lose your gavel very soon. And your time in the sun with Jelly Roll.
I was with Kid Rock and Jelly Roll.
So, of course, it was a good time. It's the best time of my life.
Right. It was the best night of his life. He got to be in an environment where, like, I mean, is there a more masculine energy than a UFC fight like that? Like, not even a woman in sight.
Just men in sweat.
Just men sweat. Just that energy
Alcohol.
that he wants to be around.
No inhibitions.
Right.
Speaking of no inhibitions, that sort of accent that he had in the first reminded me of a great Tom Sharpling React video. This is to a Billy Crystal performance, I guess we'd call it, in the wake of Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
Where Billy Crystal had a jazz man character, and we'll just play.
Well, I mean, Mike Johnson's from Louisiana.
Exactly.
So it is.
The white boys from Louisiana need to cheer a
Yeah,
little
right.
bit
I mean,
on.
go back to the golf course and wear your pastels and never talk like this again, please.
Here he goes.
I'm at the Barker Brothers funeral home to play in the band. that marches down the street, leading the casket on its way to heaven. Can you dig that?
Okay, said it a second time. Let's count how many.
So people should go check that out. Just search Tom Sharpley and Billy Crystal. But he counts how many times Billy Crystal says, "Can you dig that?"
I've always thought Billy Crystal was about as funny as Mike Johnson.
Was that his attempt to relate after Hurricane Katrina?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know if you remember.
This is what New
Cultural
Orleans needs.
appropriation.
New
Yeah.
Orleans needs me to impersonate one of those cool jazz guys down at Frenchman Street.
Right. This is what New Orleans needs in this moment of crisis. Another white man taking credit for jazz.
Mike Johnson is Jizz Man.
Oh.
Jizz Man.
Ryan.
And Jizz Boy his son.
Yeah. That's what they call each other. Lizard says that's also an impossible to find SNL sketch with Billy Crystal playing a retired black baseball player.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, he also played Sammy Davis Jr., which is very easy to find
Oh.
on SNL.
He's really into this. Who Dat says, never did I ever think I would see someone lamer than my dad when talking about current pop culture. Good job, Mike. You did it. Granny Mills says, as a black man, Mike Johnson comedy racism is offensively cringe. He could use the N-word and I would still be more upset that it's painfully unfunny.
Oh, wow. This Sammy Davis thing is crazy.
Oh, my God. Don't put it up. Just show me later.
Yeah, it's fine.
Kaiju Beetle says, he 100% told that couple when they opened the door, I have a black son. Oh, I forgot. He does have a black son. Mike Johnson, right? Or no, is that Mike Pence?
I don't know. Both of them probably adopted.
Yes, yes. It's hard to critique
Funny why
that.
you get them mixed up.
Yeah, well, but they're both just like stick up their ass religious guys. But I
broadly you can say Christian Adoption Services does some probably very good work in a horrible world, but also some very problematic maybe patterns.
Yeah. I mean, it's when we're talking about tropes, it's about like civilizing in their view, I guess, a savage. I mean, that's
literally mentioned in genocide conventions, the removing children from their parents and rehoming them in the home of the citizens of the settler society is a function of genocide.
Do we have our Sarah Hurwitz stuff?
Yeah, it's at the bottom of the section.
Okay. Great, thank you. So Sarah Hurwitz, this liberal Zionist, is on her book tour. I mean, looked up the name of her book. It's called As a Jew, Reclaiming Our Story from Those Who Blame, Shame, and Try to Erase Us.
I roll.
I like how blame is first. Yeah. Right. Yes, we are blaming Israel for committing genocide. Not Jews, but...
what's being erased is fucking Gaza.
Yeah.
In Palestine, the West Bank.
But that's too literal.
That's actually being erased.
That's too literal. Why bother in like dealing with literal erasure and genocide when we can deal with imagined slights and self-victimization?
No, let's get literal with a phrase like, you will not replace us. When we want to actually stand against white supremacists in this, you have Itamar Ben-Gvir and people like that very explicitly wanting to replace Palestinians within Palestine and call it Israel. That's happening. That's what she's talking about right now. The blame, shame, or this. It is shameful what's going on in Israel. It's like world historically shameful.
But it's more important that one is protected from those feelings of shame. I think we can both agree on that. No, we didn't play this one. This is kind of what we're talking about here. Here is Sarah Hurwitz. She was at this conference again on this book tour. And this is what she's talking about in terms of the challenges that Zionists face in trying to get young people to support Israel. And you will not believe what she says.
We're kind of entering a post-literate society, and if like all day long your brain is just smashed again and again by TikTok with really upsetting carnage in Gaza, then like you're talking and like I'm sorry if this is a graphic thing to say, but like when I'm trying to make arguments in favor, for Israel, I realize I'm talking through a wall of dead children. Like that's what people are seeing. So when I'm like, yeah, but it's 1.5 civilians they're just seeing carnage.
But
right?
that's
like,
the emotional blackmail.
Why is there a wall?
I mean, fair enough, but like again, I mean that's nice, but like again, I'm hearing that through a wall of screaming children. It's like I think it's a harder argument than we're understanding. So I actually really strongly think that like Jewish day schools should absolutely say no child owns a smartphone until senior year. They don't own one at all. Period. We give it to them senior year and we teach them. Like this whole not during the day. Great, nice start. No smartphone at all until senior year. Dumb phone, sure.
It's just not going to happen.
Like, but I think that we've got to like give our kids' brains a chance and their mental health a chance before they start getting really warped.
Again, supporting the genocide.
Yeah,
I kind of agree with maybe limiting smartphone usage, but not
in schools. You can, but like how?
For this reason.
How can you do that?
Are you insane?
How could you actually? What law? Parents can't let their kids have cell phones.
She's saying banning them in Jewish schools is basically what she's advocating.
But
for.
she said just during. She said she
Until they're 18.
said like it's one thing during the day.
Yeah.
But that's not enough. She said how you can't do it.
I mean, Taylor Lorenz has been saying, a lot of this push to ban smartphones in schools is and things like age verification, or so some of these corporations can get more data on you, and I feel like that kind of reaction there is indicative of like where we want to. I think that these smartphones are obviously, and social media in particular, is really addictive for kids and needs to be limited
and regulated.
But the people that are advocating for this kind of thing, these liberal Zionists, obviously have ulterior motives. I just want to back up to a little bit what she says there, where or who's that co-host on that panel? I'm not necessarily sure, but he says, "Oh, it's emotional blackmail." Yeah, sure. Like the amount of self-victimization that is involved here, as they act like they're being rational, is incredible to me. The wall of dead children that she describes, and the fact that people are using that and invoking it and saying this is wrong. In that scenario, don't worry, Sarah Hurwitz is still the victim at the end of the day. She's being emotionally blackmailed. The children that are maimed, that are starved to death, that families are ripped apart, that have no limbs, that are dead, they are not the true victims. It's the weaponization of that very reality that is hurting the feelings of Sarah Hurwitz, who, I don't know, does she live in a war-torn country or does she live in the United States in incredible comfort and security? That's the real victim here. And there is just the idea, she acts as if these accurate images are in some way desensitizing or oversensitizing children to having empathy for others. Like there's also just never an analysis. I can't even read my own handwriting, but oh yeah, this is what I wrote down. She dismisses thousands of dead children as a branding inconvenience. Yes. Yep. It's like
they can't hear me through a wall of dead children.
Yes.
A wall of dead children.
Right. How do we get our message out there when this message is a little bit loud? How do we counter-program the wall of dead children? Yeah. No.
And the delusion about like this is the media. It's all about the media, which frankly liberals have a problem with. Like it wasn't just the media that said there was an affordability crisis back when people like us were trying to get the Biden administration to take it seriously, and saying the economy was great. But it is not just TikTok. Yeah. This is not TikTok. Amnesty International, December 5th, my birthday, 2024. Happy birthday to me. Amnesty International investigation concludes Israel's committing a genocide against Palestinians. There's no TikToks on here. Just text. Just text, Sarah Hurwitz. Just text here. I'll go to another one that I think about a lot, actually, early in March 2024. What's happening in Gaza is not a war, it's a massacre. This is a very objective look at things like death totals and
intent,
exactly, and sort
tactics.
Of international law, and it reached the conclusion that this is not just a war, this is a colonial massacre, objectively speaking. And guess what? They don't use any TikToks, no TikTok, no vertical scroll video, just text and statistics. So they're telling themselves a fucking lie, and they don't even. It's such a cope. The entirety of liberal Zionism. It's not just Hurwitz. Hurwitz is just out there, but she's indicative of how everyone to the left of Itamar Ben-Gvir, but also supportive of Israel, thinks.
Yeah.
It's absolute delusion, and it's the delusion that they're going to try to maintain by enforcing insane policies like no children can have a fucking cell phone in 2025. I'm sorry, the world's moved on. If your project cannot withstand American teenagers having cell phones, your project is fucked. It's over. You need to rethink it.
But that doesn't ever seem to come. You know, even if I'm really, really sick of cozy Westerners like herself centering her own feelings of, like, I don't know, perhaps there's some guilt under there somewhere or whatever, discomfort from the fact that there is a mass movement for Palestinian liberation that is just and is not going to slow down. Even if your only concern is that of Jewish people and of Jewish safety, wouldn't you begin with the premise of reducing the wall of dead children and maybe not continuously adding bricks to it? Like,
I'd start there.
Yeah, and not to be crude by calling children bricks, but her analogy was quite crude. Wouldn't you think that maybe starting from that premise, instead of taking the wall of dead children as the given, that might be the way to root out what you're talking about negative opinions about Israel, root from stem? That would be my suggestion to you, even in this insanely narcissistic framework. But let's do 23 here. This was another clip of her on this tour. This is the podcast Being Jewish with Jonah Platt. Is this the guy that's related to Ben Platt and whose dad? I'm pretty sure this is the case. Yeah, this is the guy. He has a podcast. Credit to Jonah Platt, his brother, who was in that horrible... Oh, no, sorry. His brother's Ben Platt. Sorry, did I say Jonah? Yeah. Credit to his brother Ben, who was in that horrible movie, Dear Evan Hansen, but that his dad produced. But I was, he's been doing like appearances with Rachel Zegler, and I think has spoken out on Gaza. We can look that up just to verify it, because
Ben Platt has expressed his views that Israel are distinct from his family state and that his Jewish identity is not defined by the state of Israel.
So credit to him, but his brother and his dad was the executive that was smearing Rachel Zegler and flew out to try to get her to take down her post against the genocide because she was in one of his films. So this guy Jonah doesn't seem like apple falls too far from the tree. Credit to his brother Ben though. But this is them talking about comparing claims, the countless genocide scholars that have called it a genocide, the United Nations, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch. They are all apparently equivalent to the white nationalists who talk about white genocide in America.
Christians are Christianizing the Roman Empire. Who's stopping us? Those Jews who won't convert. We, the communists, are bringing about the great brotherhood of man and the revolution. And who's stopping us? These capitalist Jews. We, the Germans, are bringing about the great Aryan, racially pure fatherland. Who's stopping us? Race-polluting Jews. Today in America, you see on the right and the left.
Sorry. No, but the trope about capitalist Jews, I'm sorry, but often, like at least here in the United States, anti-Semitism and anti-Jewish hatred was much more closely associated with things like the Red Scare and the Palmer raids and anti-communist activity. I don't even understand what point she's fully trying to make here, but like if the execution of the Rosenbergs in part was like motivated by both anti-communist and anti-Jewish sentiment. So just a little bit of a fact check there, because I just think that's completely ahistorical to emphasize it in that way. But
same point about Russia.
Their fatherland. Who's stopping us? Race-polluting Jews.
Also, I just have to race-polluting Jews sort of thing. Our boy at the ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, was just on a podcast a few months ago saying the problem is Jewish people are intermixing. Literally said that.
Yeah.
fatherland. Who's stopping us? Race-polluting Jews. Today in America, you see it on the right and the left. On the right, it is we white Christian Americans are bringing back white Christian civilization. The only thing stopping us, these Jews who are importing black and brown immigrants to replace white people. That is the bonkers Great Replacement conspiracy, which I'm like, is it more racist or more anti-Semitic? I don't know. I think it's kind of equal. And then on the left, you have, we, the great moral majority, are doing anti-racism and anti-colonialism, and the only thing stopping us are these racist colonialist Zionists, aka Jews.
Right.
And no, not aka Jews. Not aka Jews.
This is
Christian Zion. I'm sorry, but Joe Biden is a Catholic and was the American architect of this genocide at its outset, and he is an open Zionist. It is not the same. Like, how can you say that and go unchallenged? The largest in terms of just numbers of people in this country who are Zionists and affect policy in this way are Christians. We just played a clip of Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is a Christian Zionist, and you're not going to find a bigger zealot on the issue of Israel, at least in practice. I'm just like, as she talks about on a podcast about Judaism, about reducing anti-Semitism, she's tying the actions of a genocidal rogue state and an ideology that is not based in Judaism to Jews. She's fomenting it as she sits there.
And let's just address Jewish Zionists for a second. They don't care. Jewish Zionists do not give a fuck about the safety of Jews in general. When those two young women, Jewish, in my neighborhood were assaulted by a mob that was supporting Itamar Ben-Gvir several months ago, you didn't really see any outrage about it because it was Zionists that did it. And so, like, we're going to talk about that. They care about the nation of Israel. That's what they care about more than anything. Like
the project of Zionism is not a special class of people. The idea, I'm sorry, but the Great Replacement is wrong. That theory, one, because it's a false conspiracy theory, but two, because yes, it demonizes people of color and says that Jewish people are the architects behind this Great Replacement effort, and that is But identifying Zionism, it's like identifying Republicans. It's not a class of people. Sorry.
Ben Platt is actually a perfect, and this Jonah Platt thing is actually the perfect situation here because Ben Platt is right. Ben Platt is righteous. His family is wrong. There is right and wrong in this. The truth does not lie in the middle somewhere, unless you mean lie as in lying, as in like you're telling a fiction.
Yeah.
They all need to listen to Ben. That's what needs to happen in Jewish families across this country. And instead, they inoculate themselves against people like him, saying like, oh, there's some crazy lefty. No, they are redemptive for your entire shit. And you can continue to act as if they don't exist in these sorts of conversations and that everyone is an anti-Semite who has those positions, even though you know in your own fucking families that's a lie. But it's a lie because you don't care about Jews who don't support Israel. You care about a nation above all. You are nationalists.
Yeah. Keep going.
Moral majority are doing anti-racism and anti-colonialism, and the only thing stopping us are these racist colonialist Zionists, aka Jews.
Right.
And, Dara Horn, who's brilliant, and I quote all the time, she says, if you think there are sides here, you don't understand what's happening. It's the same thing on both sides. It just takes on slightly different, language and form. It's so easy to say, well, left wing's the problem.
I mean, I'm sorry. They say there's no sides here, but you see these things on both sides. She's also dumb.
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing is like, when are we going to move on from like how she keeps saying stupid liberal Zionist things to the point where we look at the Democratic Party that hires people like this to be like experts on anti-Semitism or something? Like Michelle Obama should be fucking embarrassed. Barack Obama should be fucking embarrassed. Look at Joe Biden's special envoy for anti-Semitism. I forget what her name is, but she was making beeper jokes.
Yeah.
Like lunatics.
Is the problem, but if you act language and form, it's so easy to say, well, left wing's the problem, the right wing's the problem. But if you actually look at the two of them, the tropes are kind of the same.
Right.
The right is saying that Jews are doing a white genocide, and the left is saying they're doing a genocide in Gaza. It's like the same. It's like very similar tropes.
Guess
you are doing a genocide in Gaza. Tropes. Tropes.
What, what do you even say? I mean,
Goo goo gaga.
tropes. An accurate description that has like an actual legal and international law definition, which Israel was meeting the 5 planks of, I don't know, maximum a month into this genocide.
The truth is, the things that liberal Zionists have been peddling to, things like tropes this or blood libel that, they're not going to work on disciplining the left because they don't apply and never have. And they're also not going to be work on the actual Nazis because you've worn it out.
I do also, last thing on this, when we're talking about liberal Zionism too, we're seeing a failure of liberalism in its most distinct form, in that there will be some liberals that are correctly radicalized by this genocide and understand what happens, you know, or what has happened and how they need to move to a different set of politics. But there will also be liberals like Sarah Hurwitz that retreat into the fundamental premises of liberalism that are a little crunchier, which is that there is hierarchy that should be accepted. Like leftism is about a liberation of marginalized people, and liberalism accepts hierarchies as an inherent and just way to structure society, because of capitalism is the best way to allocate those resources. And so you'll have folks like her that show that when they spoke about universal human rights, they say they believe that, maybe even in a domestic context, it's not very sincere, because when push comes to shove, their politics are more dependent on preserving the hierarchy that's inherent to their worldview. Oh, what a way to end the fun half. We're going to read some IMs and get out of here.
Just some accountability.
I wanted to get to that clip because she's just insane.
Some accountability from the type of people who keep giving women like her jobs.
Can you go to the Jonah Platt episode, because Kentucky Leftist says the comments are insane, and
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
that'll
YouTube.
be a way for us to wrap up this segment and not
Have your brother on.
have me punch someone on the street. Would never do that. I've never punched anyone. Never punched anyone. Seems like it would hurt my hand.
It hurts.
Yeah, but it's exciting. I don't know how we got here.
We're confusing.
You really just want to feel something?
This is it, right? Make sure his,
I guess so.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. There are the comments. The biggest purveyors of anti-Semitism are people like this.
I mean, we might get some legit anti-Semitic
Yes.
stuff on this.
This is pure delusion. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
So I don't know if we want to.
Why don't you interview an anti-Zionist Jew instead of someone who thinks they are
Oh, that's a good one.
misguided?
He took
Yeah.
the bait on that one.
Could be some of them will refuse to come because in certain far left circles, even associating with Zionists just the sake of debate.
Bro, I bet you could
Cope.
get some folks on there.
Cope.
I would bet that, you know, maybe your brother doesn't want to do it with you, but I bet you could find some Jewish anti-Zionists, or even just non-Jewish anti-Zionists, because guess what? It's not just Jews who are paying taxes for Israel.
Right.
We all get to have an opinion on that.
Sorry.
It's and especially after October 7th and the horrors. But frankly, everyone should have felt empowered to have an opinion on it before then too.
Reading some IMs and then we'll get out of here. Rural Lefty, regarding Christian extremist Republicans and second in line to the presidency, Mike Johnson, Business Insider reported in 2023 that Mike and his wife Kelly, quote, took custody of a black teenager named Michael when he was 14 years old and they were newlyweds. He's now 38 years old, but for some reason the younger Michael isn't in the current family photograph on Johnson's congressional website. Is that the plot of The Blind Side?
Sounds like it,
yeah. And also that situation also broke down, and Michael Orr...
Turns out that, maybe those things are playing out a little bit differently than the appearances suggest.
Yeah, they should make a sequel to that movie.
Yeah, they really
And
should.
finish that story.
Blindside, what you didn't see.
God, that movie, really, I mean, but we did just...
That's another one that didn't see.
That's another one that did... aged like milk in the current moment. It's like Green Book, like a movie that was rewarded by Hollywood but was absolutely offensive from the outset.
It's weird when like even like that movie Crash that won all the Academy
Horrible.
Awards. Like Hollywood is an insane place.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Bunch
doing?
of degenerates, you know,
Really?
they're all having sex with each other.
Also, the CGI sucks nowadays.
Yeah. We just become incredibly reactionary, religious, anti-Hollywood people immediately now.
The moral decay.
Yeah, totally. Former libertarian. On the right is the hallucination of white genocide that is not happening, and they are blaming Jews. On the left is an actual genocide happening, and they are blaming Israel. She either sees this and denies it, or is a lunatic.
Like imagine if a city in Iowa looked like Gaza.
Yeah. Sucking off the system. If you can unflinchingly say the problem with our message is that there's a wall of dead children in our way without any sort of reflection on what that absolutely horrifyingly psychotic statement means, you are simply not human.
Never been a problem for me.
Yeah.
She apologized for the vulgarity of the statement, not the reality. She's
And-
like,
and
I'm
how she
sorry for
sounded.
invoking
Right.
dead children.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're prepared to hear this in a way that makes it sound vulgar.
Occam's Blazer. Sarah's talking about young Jews. She wants parents to keep their kids propagandized. I mean, it seemed like she was at some forum where I'd imagine parents are listening and thinking like, oh, great idea.
I mean, as somebody who has a pretty wide range of what I consider child abuse, which one of which is that, you know, teaching Christian kids that eternal hellfire awaits you if you're gay. I consider that child abuse. I also think the type of Jewish education that prioritizes Zionism and acts like the entire world is ready to kill you is abusive on a mass scale.
I would argue the concept of hell in general is child abuse.
Right.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you get there.
Yeah.
The Millrind. We need to know where that Rolex Submariner Johnson is sporting came from. It's true. Doesn't he not have a bank account?
Jelly Roll gave it to me.
Yeah. Slandry. Pence can't dine alone with a woman. Mike Johnson has had his son as an accountability buddy to track heart rate to check if they're jerking off. Benny Johnson is not allowed to go on work trips without his wife because he was allegedly spending time with a man.
Yeah, those conservative work trips. I've heard some funny things about those.
Yeah.
Benny Johnson's wife must have been so fired up when he was assigned to the Christy Nome beat.
Yes, don't need to worry.
Oh yeah, didn't you and Crystal talk about some of the crazy shenanigans that get up to at some of the conservative events?
Oh yeah. Maybe we did talk about that. Was that on air or off air?
I think I saw a headline about it.
Okay. Oh yes,
that
yes.
Maybe Kyle titled.
Oh right. Back when we did that, yeah. Kyle's title of the game is something else. Good for him. It's his. He's got the corner on that market. All right.
I just like the idea of two women having a conversation and a guy like Kyle coming in. And
It was some title like fingers in.
I can find it. Hold on.
Okay. And I think we were talking about like intersectional feminism in the clip. Gulf Coast Grit. Seeing your mugshot in the papers under the headline "Crazy Leftist Goes on Punching Spree" would be entertaining. Yeah, it would be something else. Illuminati kids. Until the Israel lobby is irrelevant to the Democratic Party, there's no way an advisor who's not a raving Zionist is getting hired. Noah from San Francisco. In my naive opinion, blackmail works because the target feels guilty or worried about receiving shame or condemnation. That is how blackmail works. Yes, they are afraid of that information getting out. I think I Should Leave says, who's the first person in line of succession y'all would be comfortable with? I'm scrolling the other day and they just felt bad.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the one thing is like who's gonna get in there.
Did you find this? I'm gonna wrap up.
I'm trying to find it. Sorry.
It's fine. Bingo Dango. Mike Johnson, your heart rate monitor was going nuts. Were you at Club Aqua? Nefarious Bread. Matt, are you playing Arc Raiders? No. And the final I am of the week, unless it'll still be the final I am. Congressional baseball fan. Intrusive thoughts of the day. What if we reenacted the Salem witch trials, but as a roast, I saw Goody Proctor with the devil, and boy, has she put on a few pounds. Goody, just because you sold your soul doesn't mean you can't just eat whatever you want. Rein it in, okay?
No luck. It was something like Emma and Crystal destroyed nasty conservative bitches or something like that.
Something like that.
Dunk on dumb bitches.
Yeah. I think there was something about fingering.
Yes, I know. It's just not come up in search.
Matt doesn't want to search Emma Crystal fingering on our work computer.
Turn on incognito mode.
Okay. All right. Appreciate you all. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Brian. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy birthday to Sam on Friday. We will see you Monday. Well, Friday pre-tape show, back live Monday.
It might take all the strength I got to get to where I want, but I know somehow I'm gonna get there. I wasn't looking when I just got caught between the truth